things, and we're going to test it and see what's possible. We think we owe that to the world, and the president, I continue to say, is the only leader in the world right now, President Trump, who's in a position to even get. We owe that to the world, and the president, I continue to say, is the only leader in the world right now, President Trump, who's in a position to even get. We owe that to the world, and the president, I continue to say, is the only leader in the world right now, President Trump, who's in a position to even get. We owe that to the world. About this, but we have a lot of work yet to be done, and we'll know more after we get the readout from our teams.
Okay, our last question will come from Andrea Chisholm from Television Jamaica.
Thank you. Secretary Rubio, given changes to U.S. immigration policies, there are some Jamaicans who are afraid to travel back to Jamaica, even though they are legitimate green card holders. What assurances can you give to those individuals that they will have no difficulty returning to the United States?
Well, yeah, right. Green card or residency? I mean, permanent residence you're asking me about? Yes, okay, yes. Okay.
And secondly, what problems, if any, does America have with China's investment in Jamaica?
Well, look, I mean, China's a rich and powerful country. Our problem with is not investment. Okay, our problem is predatory practices. That's what we're concerned about. What we have seen all over the world is that China comes in and says, here's a bunch of money for a project they never build. They bring their own workers to do the work. They don't hire the locals, they bring their own workers. And oftentimes it comes attached with a huge loan that can never be repaid, and now they hold it over your head forever. That's our concern. Our concern is unfair practices too, where they come in, they're government subsidized companies, underbid everybody because they're subsidized. But then they come back and charge you whatever they want because now they've got the contract. So these are the things that we remain very concerned about. Again, not specifically about Jamaica, but in general. And so that's what we'll continue to highlight. On the first point, I would say,
emotional damage. Whoa, we need help, Jesus. Jamaica need help. Shift the parliament. Shift the election. Shift everything. Remove them out there. Take out the cockroach. Take out the thief. Take out the criminal them. Take out the thief them. Take out the murderer them. Take out the gang leader them. Out of parliament. Take them out from Portland. Take them out. I hear Portland. May I go to Portland? Why may I travel to Portland? Take out somebody, man or woman. The message may I deliver. You know what I deliver it? You know how much blood I listen, you know how much of them that can't? Half a million make them can put on them pot. If I one preacher make Jamaican dagger can yam food, I'm asked you what. Led by Andre. But when I say Portland, me never call no name. But sure me can, me no call no fool. But me I tell some people, this year 2025, diploma life has been short. Who not dead and lose sleep. God want back Jamaica, one way or another. Jamaica belong to God. Lift your God bless in another church. If you're not lift your hand, you're a hypocrite if you don't love me right now. You're not supposed to there. Lift your hand and say, Eternal Father, bless our land, guide us with your mighty hand, keep us free from evil powers, be our life through countless powers. Lift your God bless hand, you're a hypocrite. Before God and all mankind, we pledge the love and loyalty of my heart, wisdom and courage of my the strength and vigor of my back in the service of my fellow. Where are they? You can't go up. I promise to stand up for justice. Come like, don't forget, you're a hypocrite, you forget. You forget, you pledge. And that you're not loyal no more. We don't remember the pledge. I promise to stand up for justice, brotherhood and peace, to work diligently, to think create, and give generous, so that Jamaica may. Under what? Under who? Under who? Under who? Jamaica under God. Jamaica under God. Jamaica under God. Jamaica under will increase in beauty, fellowship and prosperity. We will play our part in advancing the welfare of the whole human. I am giving you a warning.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. Those watching on Bolo VNR clips, big up on yourself. Those watching on Bolo VNR 2.0, big up on yourself. So, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Mark Rubio just check out at the press conference, and I'm telling you, I was watching the press conference partially, but I got bored because I was wondering where the pertinent questions that should be asked, that all the Jamaicans are wondering about. And you hear when them say in Jamaica, when them say, you save the best for last. Well, ladies and gentlemen, in this instance, they saved the best for last. Splash, did you big up yourself? Sharon, Bernard, big up yourself. They saved the best for last, ladies and gentlemen. Hey! Wanna listen to TVJ analyst for the last question. I pick up TVJ for that one, I have to say.
Okay, our last question will come from Andrea Chisholm from Television Jamaica.
More big up Andrea Chisholm. Andrea Chisholm, anywhere you are, salute. You see, one of the arts of being a journalist, or an independent journalist, or even a vlogger, somebody that looks at information and really dive into it, you have to ask the right questions and the key questions so you can get the answers that you want. Let's listen.
Jamaica.
Thank you. Secretary Rubio, given changes to U.S. immigration policies, there are some Jamaicans who are afraid to travel back to Jamaica, even though they are legitimate green card holders. What assurances can you give to those individuals that they will have no difficulty returning to the United States?
Well, okay, yeah,
And
well, green card,
very quickly,
green card or
sir.
residency? I mean, permanent residence, you're asking me about? Yes,
Permanent,
okay,
yes.
okay.
And secondly, what problems, if any, does America have with China's investment in Jamaica?
Now, the first question about green card. I was always wondering why the people of Jamaica was upset with Donald Trump. It is documented on my platform, right, as to why are they upset if you're not in the country illegally. Isn't it a regular thing for countries to enforce their laws when it comes to immigration? So I was confused. I had arguments and disagreements with people online about this, and I was genuinely confused as to why they had an issue with it. But Mr. Rubio, big up yourself, you answered it very well. But at the Chinese question, may I tell you, mighty God, let's hear it.
Well, look, I mean, China's a rich and powerful country. Our problem with is not investment. Okay, our problem is predatory practices. That's what we're concerned about. What we have seen all over the world is that China comes in and says, here's a bunch of money for a project they never build. They bring their own workers to do the work. They don't hire the locals. They bring.
Where's the lie? Only not so much Chinese there at Jamaica. Only not see how much Chinese there at Jamaica do contract work them. To the point the other day we had a sighting of one of them allegedly. I don't know if it's Chinese. I think it's I'll just say Asian. Cause we don't want to disrespect nobody, right? One of them was skinning a dog or a cat. Who remember? And I'm going to find the clip. But let's continue.
Bring their own workers. And oftentimes it comes attached with a huge loan that can never be repaid. And now they hold it over your head forever. That's our concern. Our concern is unfair practices too, where they come in, they're government subsidized companies, underbid everybody because they're subsidized. But then they come back and charge you whatever they want because now they've got the contract. So these are the things that we remain very concerned about. Again, not specifically about Jamaica, but in general. And so that's what we'll continue to highlight. On the first point, I would say, let me talk about that. If you're a green card holder, you're not illegally in the United States. If you're a green card holder, you are legally in the United States. What the president has said, and I don't know how anybody can disagree with this, every country in the world has immigration laws. And immigration laws, if you don't enforce them, you don't have immigration laws. Over the last few years, we've had, 13, 14, 15 million people enter the United States unlawfully and irregularly. No country in the world can assume that. By the way, that's not unique to us, right? Even here in Jamaica, you face challenges of migration. And it's not that we don't sympathize with people that are leaving difficult circumstances, is that no society can absorb mass migration from anywhere in the world. You just can't do it. And we're facing that challenge. That's not specific to Jamaica, I'm just speaking in general. And so the president is doing something that frankly hasn't been done in a long time. He's enforcing our immigration laws. And that's what we're doing. So if you're a green card holder, you're not illegally in the United States. I think the challenge is for those who are illegally in the United States, we have to have immigration laws. They have to be followed. I mean, I don't know why that's an unreasonable demand. And frankly, I mean, Jamaica is not a major source of illegal migration, to be frank. It's not even in the top 10 or top 20 for that matter, I don't think. But that said, we are enforcing our immigration laws, because here's what happens if you don't. You'll get another 12 million people. And if tomorrow Jamaica announced anybody who wants to come can come in, you're going to get a lot of people too, and you know it's going to be very disruptive. So we need to have immigration laws, and we need to enforce them, and that's what we are. That's what the president is doing. That's what he promised voters he would do, and that's what we're going to continue to do. But if you're a green card holder, you're legally in the United States, unless, and I say this because a lot of these people come, unless you're some student visa holder who's a sympathizer of some terrorist organization and is running around in our streets like a lunatic, burning down buildings and attacking students at universities. If you're one of these lunatics that's going to put on a mask over your face and break into a student union center and harass students, and we wouldn't have let you in the first place. If you had told us if you told us, I'm going to America not just to study at your university, but to tear up your campus, we would have never let you in. And if you do that, once you come into the United States, we're going to kick you out. We're going to do that. And I don't care what terrorist organization is supporting, we're going to kick you out. If you're a gang member, we're going to kick you out. Okay? If you're one of these violent gang members that's coming to the United States, then we're going to kick you out. That we're going to do. There's no doubt about it. But the president's very committed to that. And but if you're a green card holder and you're not any of these things, you're going to be fine.
Mighty God! Hey! Let me tell you something. There is a lot to unpack here, ladies and gentlemen. But before I do, let me go to the clip that I wanted to show you of the Chinese or the Asian in Jamaica. Oh, look at this. This came on the news. Not my word. The title of this says, video of man appearing to prepare dog for consumption sparks concern. Right? That is the title of the video. Oh, take a look at this.
There is outrage this evening after a video showing a man of Asian descent skinning and apparently preparing a dog for human consumption. But while consuming dogs in other parts of the world, particularly Asia, is normal, it is illegal in Jamaica. As Giovanni Dennis now reports, authorities have launched an investigation. Now, the station understands that this story could be disturbing given the sensitivity of the matter, but our newsroom discussed the issue, and TVJ News believes that it must show the following images in the public interest and to ensure the integrity of the story. So we urge persons who might be offended to look away for the next 3.5 minutes.
The animal being skinned strongly appears to be a dog. It was apparently being prepared for consumption. Now, consuming dog is normal in parts of Asia, particularly China and other countries. Our source says this video was recorded in Jamaica very recently. In fact, today. Our source also claims the practice of capturing and consuming dogs is being done by Asians here for work. But in Jamaica, dogs are not on the list of animals approved for consumption in our Public Health Act. This was confirmed by a public health official who spoke with our news team this afternoon. Head of the Society for the Prevention of Cruelty to Animals, Pam Lawson, is outraged.
I was repelled. It disgusted me. It did. And watching the animal being skinned and I'm like, how can this be happening here?
Dr. Osbill Watson is Chief Veterinary Officer in the Ministry of Agriculture. He says they have been receiving reports, but no video to substantiate the claims before now.
It's frightening, to say the least. You know, we have heard from time to time
incidents like these occurring without getting the actual evidence. But if this video proves to be true, then there is serious concern as it relates to one, animal welfare. There's a serious animal welfare issue here.
Beyond animal welfare, other breaches, the butchering regulation under the Public Health Act, the location and the way the animal's carcass is being handled.
The other concerns would be of public health issue and of breach of the butcher's regulations as it relates to whether a dog is listed in the act or in the regulation as an animal that is slaughtered for meat in Jamaica. Based on my knowledge, there is no listing of a dog.
Pam Lawson wants an investigation.
I want them to track down. I think we have to start enforcing. We have to change our laws. Let's be honest. Our laws are pathetic. Our animal welfare laws are pathetic, which is why I think I even mentioned earlier, at least the public health laws are a lot stronger and have more teeth, because our animal laws, the fines are punitive. There's very little that can be done. And I truly do believe that we need to find everything in the book to throw, because this is...
So, honestly, what I talk about. We don't need to go no deeper into it, ladies and gentlemen. So the Asians that were here for work, right? You see, a skin dog and a eat dog. There were many reports of it. So that is another concern. The welfare of the animals them. And a lot of people in Jamaica might not care, but there are some people that understand. And even America. If you ever try that with that, you did swap America when they were accusing the Haitians of doing this and that about it, there was an uproar. Americans love dogs more than black people, as far as me know. In some instances, I'm telling you, they have more affection for animals than black people in some instances. It is what it is. You get me? So the Asians them is not liked by America, ladies and gentlemen. It's not. There's nothing about them that is liked by them. And what the man said about, I really have to thank the lady from TVJ, no man. She made the entire thing for me. That question was the question. You feel me? And not even this me come to talk about, you know. But may I tell you, I had to touch on this before I go into the main topic. Mighty God.
And then we'll present that to the president, who will ultimately make a decision about what the next step is. I think it's a good thing that we have both the Ukrainians and the Russians talking about ceasefires, be they energy or be they potentially in the Black Sea. But obviously, this is hard and difficult work. This is a protracted almost 3.5 year war now, or 3-year war. It has a lot of framework of sanctions that have been built globally now that have to be looked at as part of an ultimate end to a conflict. There's a lot of things that have to be worked through. And I certainly think the only way you're going to make progress on these things is by engaging with both sides, understanding their asks, their demands, and seeing what's possible. So we're going to have a chance now to sort of sit down as a team and evaluate when they arrive in detail how the meetings went with the Ukrainians, how the meetings went with Russia, what are the Russians asking for, what are the Ukrainians asked for, compare all that, and then make a decision on that basis about what comes next in this process. In the end, the goal here is peace. The goal is to end a war where people are dying. And I think everyone should be happy that the United States is engaged in a process of ending a war and bringing about peace. It's not going to be easy. It won't be simple. It'll take some time, but at least we're on that road and we're talking about these things, and we're going to test it and see what's possible. We think we owe that to the world. And the president, I continue to say, is the only leader in the world right now, President Trump, who's in a position to even get these two nations to a city to talk about these things, albeit in rooms far apart from one another when these talks are going on. But nonetheless, they're talking. It's the first time in a while that we've seen any conversation about this, but we have a lot of work yet to be done, and we'll know more after we get the readout from our teams.
Okay, our last question will come from Andrea Chisholm from Television Jamaica.
Best question. Come to Andrea.
Rubio, given changes to U.S. immigration policies, there are some Jamaicans who are afraid to travel back to Jamaica, even though they are legitimate green card holders. What assurances can you give to those individuals that they will have no difficulty returning to the United States?
Well, yeah, right. Green card or residency? I mean, permanent residence you're asking me about? Yes, okay, yes. Okay.
And secondly, what problems, if any, does America have with China's investment in Jamaica?
Well, look, I mean, China's a rich and powerful country. Our problem is not investment. Okay, our problem is predatory practices. That's what we're concerned about. What we have seen all over the world is that China comes in and says, here's a bunch of money for a project they never build. They bring their own workers to do the work. They don't hire the locals. They bring their own workers. And oftentimes it comes attached with a huge loan that can never be repaid. And now they hold it over your head forever. That's
they don't just hold it over your head forever. You got to give them assets. You got to give them, I don't know, Marcus Garvey's playground where you used to play and run up and down with all the water sources there. That's just an example of a possible asset that you could possibly need to give them when you make deals with the Chinese. The man is absolutely correct. The man is 100% correct.
That's our concern. Our concern is unfair practices too, where they come in, they're government subsidized companies, underbid everybody because they're subsidized, but then they come back and charge you whatever they want because now they've got the contract. So these are the things that we remain very concerned about. Again, not specifically about Jamaica, but in general. And
so the Chinese do this everywhere. These are facts. They do it everywhere, not just Jamaica. But do you see how this man, his face got redder. He got way more angrier talking about, I'm talking about this man blood is boiling, bro.
And so that's what we'll continue to highlight. On the first point, I would say, let me talk about that. If you're a green card holder, you're not illegally in the United States. You're a green card holder, you are legally in the United States. What the president has said, I don't know
Sorry.
anybody can disagree with this. Every country in the world has immigration laws. And immigration laws, if you don't enforce them, you don't have immigration laws.
How can you disagree with a country enforcing its immigration laws? How can people demonize Trump for following his I never understood this, bro. I have never understood the position of some Jamaicans. Maybe something is wrong with me. Alright? But if I have a country and I have a leader, I want him to follow the rules of our immigration laws. The man is right. You cannot have a bunch of people running into the country seeking asylum, 12 million, 6 million over monthly periods. Bro, you must be kidding me, bro. There are repercussions to your economy for stuff like that. You feel me? And what the American government, the Biden administration was doing was literally destabilizing the American economy with the position they took on immigrants. Point blank, period. And if you don't believe me, let the Jamaicans take a stance and say, yo, everybody, run come to Jamaica. Just like what the man say, yo, all of y'all come to Jamaica, please. It's an open border, run come in and see what happens to our economy and see what happens to the people that are from here and what will happen to them moving forward. I hope this puts to rest the hatred for Trump with the whole immigration thing. I really hope you guys look into yourself, because it was nonsense from the beginning. If your position is that you hate Trump because of the immigration laws, you really need to look into yourself. How can you have a problem with that? Unless you're doing something illegal. Unless you're not in the country illegal, you're not in America legally. Do the process the right way. I was never want to run to America. Hell no. I want to stay in Jamaica. I want to make a lot of money, and I want to go to these nice, fine hotels, kick up my foot up on the balcony. You understand? Go there with my wife and my kids, them type of something. Me want to stay in Jamaica and enjoy the lush tourism and attractions that it has to offer. I don't need to go to America. I just need to make American money. Period. That's what I need. I need to make American money, baby. You understand what I'm saying?
Over the last few years, we've had, 13, 14, 15 million people enter the United States unlawfully and irregularly. No country in the world can assume that. By the way, that's not unique to us, right? Even here in Jamaica, you face challenges of migration. And it's not that we don't sympathize with people that are leaving difficult circumstances.
That was the moment. That was the moment when Andrew Holness hold down his head. Oh my God.
No society can afford mass migration from anywhere in the world. You just can't do it. And we're facing that challenge. That's not specific to Jamaica. I'm just speaking in general. And so the president is doing something that frankly hasn't been done in a long time. He's enforcing our immigration laws. And that's what we're doing. So if you're a green card holder, you're not illegally in the United States. I think the challenge is for those who are illegally in the United States, we have to have immigration laws. They have to be followed. I mean, I don't know why that's an unreasonable demand.
I don't know
Frankly,
either.
Jamaica is not a major source of illegal migration, to be frank. It's not even in the top 10 or top 20 for that matter, I don't think. But that said, we are enforcing our immigration.
Oh, Andrew looks so uncomfortable. Andrew look panali and watch. Yo, listen that? Yo, pretty this. Look at this.
That's an unreasonable demand. And frankly, I mean, Jamaica is not a major source of illegal migration, to be frank. It's not even in the top 10 or top 20 for that matter, I don't think. But
Yo, Andrew buttoned up his shirt. Yo, Andrew look real uncomfortable, bro.
that said, we are enforcing our immigration laws, because here's what happens if you don't. You'll get another 12 million people. And if tomorrow Jamaica announces anybody who wants to come can come in, you're going to get a lot of people too, and you know it's going to be very disruptive. So we need to have immigration laws, and we need to enforce them, and that's what we are. That's what the president is doing. That's what he promised voters he would do, and that's what we're going to continue to do. But if you're a green card holder, you're legally in the United States, unless, and I say this because a lot of these people come, unless you're some student visa holder who's a sympathizer of some terrorist organization and is running around in our streets like a lunatic, burning down buildings. And
yo, my Jamaican people, I don't know if you guys are involved in any of those protests, but please understand, you cannot go to somebody's house and burn it down. You are invited. You're getting an education. Stay quiet. Stay humble. Excel in your work. And make something of yourself. Do not go to nobody's house. You know how disrespectful that is? Imagine I invite you to my home to get a proper education, right? And a better opportunity. And here you are joining some gang, joining some fanatics to protest. Bro, you got to leave that to the people that live in the States, that are from there. Leave that to them. Burning down and tearing down people's infrastructure. Are you mad? You are just asking to be deported. I mean, I don't understand these people, bruh. Yo.
And attacking students at universities. If you're one of these lunatics that's going to put on a mask over your face and break into a student union center and harass students, and we wouldn't have let you in the first place. If you had told us that, if you told us, I'm going to America not just to study at your university, but to tear up your campus, we would have never let you in.
Exactly.
And if you do that, once you come into the United States, we're going to kick you out. We're going to do that. And I don't care what terrorist organization you're supporting, we're going to kick you out. If you're a gang member, we're going to kick you out. Okay? If you're one of these violent gang members that's coming to the United States, then we're going to kick you out. That we're going to do. There's no doubt about it. But the president's very committed to that. And but if you're a green card holder,
exactly, body language, man. This man is tight. Yo, pause. Yo, this man is mad, boy. Yo.
And you're not any of these things, you're going to be fine.
Prime Minister Holness and Secretary Rubio, as we close today's press conference,
Look at Andrew, man. He could not wait for this to be done. Boy, man, he could feel the heat coming from Rubio. Pause. Yeah, he could feel all that. Yo, man, tell me what y'all think about that last part, man. I had to do a reaction to this. Lord have mercy. Shit, hey, remember, man. Y'all remember to hit that like button. Hey, y'all, please remember to hit the like button. I know y'all come in sometimes and y'all forget, but the main thing, man, y'all gotta hit the like button, man, and share the live stream. Come on now. Stop playing. Support. The like button is free, heard? All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's get to another clip because we got a lot of stuff to cover. Now, I was on the road and I kind of subpar did a reaction to the comments that Fayval Williams made yesterday in Parliament in her closing speech. But yeah, I really got to get this off my chest because I don't think I did it enough, to be honest with you. There were some points that I made on my live stream, but I think my live stream earlier was going in and out, and I really want to hit this home. You know what I'm saying? I really want to hit this home. I really do. Let me see if some of the points I was making actually went on.
Okay.
Hold on, the people. How that works, though? You want us to do something that you're not willing to do. You're not leading by example. And Fayval, I set up, you know. You make Andrew Holness and his wife and the whole Desmond Mackenzie them set you up. Because I know you right at the speech there. I know. And then I come talk about the rubbish and yo, I don't know. I couldn't even see myself on that one. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the clip first. Yes. I'm going to go to the clip, play the clip, and then I'm going to examine the clip Cause that clip, boy, Fayval, you messed up, mama. You messed up bad. I'm trying to tell you, mama. Lord, I don't know what Fayval did to herself, man. Did you let them set you up, Fav? Yeah, so let me examine this clip that Fav did. You know what I'm saying? Let's get it. Let's examine this real quick. And then we go into the press conference of Mr. Holness and the team.
Madam Speaker, it is the experience of putting aside something, no matter how small, that still lives on in me. Madam Speaker, it's not where you begin, it's where you end. And others in social media who understood the message of one cocoa full basket. Rome was not built in a day.
No, I got triggered. Yes, so Miss Fayval Williams and the Jamaica Labour Party that have beat the decks. You guys want to preach but not practice what you preach. So you want the Jamaican public to, you know, to continue a one cocoa full basket mentality. But you guys are not following said mentality. What you guys have done, you know, in essence, is fattening your pockets and giving yourselves a 200 to 300% increase without the consultation of the people of Jamaica. You also did not give our nurses, our teachers, our doctors, our police officers that same level of increase, right? So they can live a proper life because they are also in service of the people. And you never even gave us, the people, a substantial wage increase. So what you did was selfishly fed your own selves and left the rest of the country for one cocoa full basket. Right? I'm talking about the message of a pro box for $2,000 a month for 3 years, and then you would get you can access a pro box. You can go pay down upon a pro box. I don't know which car you can go pay down upon with $72,000. And let's just say you could, ladies and gentlemen. Let's just say you could actually do that. Right? Wait a minute. Get verified. I don't know about that. Anyway, moving on. Somebody posted something about Fayval pro box thing. I don't know if I retweeted it. Did I retweet it? I hope. Thank you, Lord. Here we go. Look at this person. This person said yes. Right? This person said, let me zoom out. That's too big. This person said yes. Saving $2,000 per month can get you a down payment on a brand new car in Jamaica. This is just my basic research of brand new cars on the market with a monthly payment of under $80,000 Jamaican with 100% financing from the bank in Jamaica. Pause right there. You see, this is where context matters. And this is where somebody that thinks they are smart is actually stupid. And I don't know any way else to put it. And I'm sorry, Lord forgive me, but I'm going to make the point of this individual is slow mentally. Him think him have everything up here, so but him don't. He is not factoring that the person had to save that $72,000 in 3 years. It means then that this person cannot find $72,000 just like that. It means that they are in a certain level where poverty is concerned, yes? Them have to send them kids to school, them have to take care of themselves, and them have to take care of them household. Light is high, you have water bill, and you have rent depending on where you live. Trust me, it ain't pretty. See? So now you are supposed to pay down on a car with the $72,000 as this person is insinuating. When you pay down on the car, there's what? A monthly payment of $80,000. But wait a minute, it took the person 3 years to come up with the money, sir. So how they're going to now automatically find $72,000 on a monthly basis when they couldn't find it for 3 years? It means then they have got to take the next 3 years to make a monthly payment. What can go so? It makes no sense. So the one cocoa full basket thing with Fayval at talk about, she need to go jump through one window with that and dive in the ocean. Madness. I disrespect them and disrespect the people in Jamaica. Big old disrespect. And then she had the audacity to come and talk about, oh, we are, don't disrespect the Pro Box. Fayval, are you disrespect the Pro Box, Fayval? Are you violate Pro Box till Pro Box right you and tell you, say, we don't need to apologize in one public statement, you forget? Did you forget? You can't spin that on the PNP. That is you, and you guys are still running a Pro Box government argument. Just because you can't afford to lose when you have already lost. Because you are ridiculous. And all I want to ridiculous, you see, is one thing when somebody were fooling, but a one thing when a whole party a follow one fool. What make them we a follow a fool? Who is them? Just because you guys want to paint a narrative. You cannot admit so you is stupid. And you is in error. You should have never run with it. You should have said Jamaica was sorry. You say, yo, you know what? The finance minister made an error and we move on. But now we're going to clown you forever for being Mrs. Pro Box. Until you come out, as a matter of fact, we are clowning forever. You never ever get this out. The finance minister said we can take 3 years to pay them for our Pro Box. The level of disrespect. And I come try to spin it for we, the people, and the People's National Party, say we must not disrespect Pro Box. Hey, listen me no man, let me continue. You see, if we really going on mathematics, you know what I'm going on? I'm going on. Because I want to go on visual, you know. I want to show you how crazy these people are. Calculator. Let me show you how crazy these people are. No. Follow me now, ladies and gentlemen. No, I don't need it that big. Follow me. Follow me. So, we have $72,000. Right? Over 3 years. Yes? That is the amount. Now, our average Pro Box is 1.9 million. Right? One good Pro Box is $1.9 million. Even if we're gonna keep it at 1.9 million as a matter of fact. We're not moving it from 1.9. $1.9 million for your proper Pro Box. Yes? Divide that 1.9 by $72,000. What do you get, ladies and gentlemen? 26.38. When you multiply 26.38 by 3, which is a 3 years where it take you for actually save the $72,000, it is going to take you a whopping 79 years. 79 years for pay for the Pro Box. The monthly payment, 79 years. This is the one cocoa full basket mentality, ladies and gentlemen. Mighty God of Daniel.
Help. We see out of the ladder.
We need your divine intervention. We're tired of the labor right. We're tired of the green people. We are so far. We can't take it no more. We need this. We need it. Help. Help. Jesus Christ of Nazareth. Psalm 46. God is our refuge and strength. Is a liberator.
What can go so? What can go so? What can go so?
Big up Ryan Campbell in our place. Big up Elva Miller. Big up everybody in our life. Just go and like up a life. Dalman Ashman, Donald Ashman, big up. Sefu, big up. So ladies and gentlemen, we can continue with this.
Take your hand, make fashion, who stood up in social media against the nonsense videos about $2,000 Pro Box.
So, she just disrespected everybody will have sense. To say that Uno not have no sense. When she not have no sense. So you see when me call her one fool, nobody not come to me and tell me say, yo, oh, because she's a L. No, she a idiot. She a dummy, she fool. She not have no sense. You understand? Because she still a try to push this foolishness on us. As if we not have no sense. One cocoa full basket. $2,000 price. You tell me if you save $2,000 a month for 3 months. If you go pay them on Pro Box. After 3 years. Yo.
Madam Speaker, let me caution the opposition and their supporters about how they talk about pro-box. Currently, there are 23,423 pro-box vehicle owners in Jamaica. So be very careful that you don't disrespect pro-box. Be very careful that you don't disrespect pro-box, which is made by Toyota, the largest car manufacturer in the world.
Minister, it would appear that the members would like to be here until 9 o'clock tonight.
Now, Fayval, I want you look on your Speaker of the House face, your partner, right? Your colleague, even she tired for hear your talk. Even she want to go home. Why did you do this? The people in where you kept for them not even give any respect, Fayval. Fayval, the people that you are capping for, not even giving you respect. At first, I was really sorry for Fayval, you know. Yes, when I defend me, I said, oh, they do their own that. But Fayval, you have now taken on the DNA, sold your soul, and taken on the DNA of the JLP. He's a full-blown liar. The amount of lie you tell for Marky G them. And this is a perfect time. We're going to segue into that. Because I knew that Mark Golding and the People's National Party was going to keep a conference today. You know? I just felt it in my spirit. I said, you know, they're going to answer them, you know, and they're going to embarrass them. You know? So, this is the last thing we have to say to Fayval and our government.
But listen, big up the government, respect. But you see me, the truth is just the truth. I have to respect it. The country now run right. The country now run right. All who believe me, Bossa Blanc say blow. It's nothing. It's not me, it's not Puffy. Embarrassing. He needs some milk.
Hey y'all, please remember to hit the like button. I know y'all come in sometimes and y'all forget, but the main thing, man, y'all gotta hit the like button, man. And share the live stream. Come on now. Stop playing. Support. The like button is free, heard? No, that's right. Alright, let's get to the main topic, man. Man, I just had to make sure I put that on record. And I'm going to post it, man. These people are beyond me, bro. Beyond me. I'm talking about man. Sheesh. Anyway. Alright, let's get to this. Pause. Let's pause this. Lord of mercy. We're going to examine this to the T. Oh, somebody calling me. Hello?
Yes, Bolo. Afternoon.
Yes, sir. I'm live, you know.
Yes, man, I know.
All right. You have 3 minutes. Go ahead.
Yeah, what you do for me, please? Yeah, me have a bit in that way. Me don't gonna tell me some little things that we may have to let me through it. Just remember the clip with Dennis Mackenzie when Agent Atkins asked him about the indigent house.
Yeah.
Yeah, me ask if we could send me that clip there. I'm sure him say then we have the facts. We sure him say man said that.
So people really
I say you can't get the house built out, you have your own land.
Yeah.
And when you're dead, your land can't pass on to nobody else.
But this is documented. Listen, I'm gonna show you how easy that is. Desmond Mackenzie, indigent housing program. Brother, it is on the web. It's on the internet. Them can't take it down. Him actually say it. You get what I say?
Yeah.
So
yeah,
I don't understand.
Watch it.
I
can watch it live, you know.
Listen, Wayne Lonesome did a piece on it. Andre did a piece on it. Out of the person did a piece on it. Talk Your Mind TV did a piece. Every single vlogger and Isabel Rose. Everybody has spoke. This is an old issue.
And Adrian Atkinson were interviewing him with the same thing.
Alright, so listen, what I'm gonna do, right? I'm gonna go to my my videos. Right? I'm gonna go to my videos. And I'm gonna try and find the exact title. And send you that video so you can just make them play it. Because this is beyond me. I cannot believe somebody is still arguing about that program up until now.
Yes.
About 4 videos with up on that, you know.
Me know man, me come watch all of them.
And you see the videos them the videos them is so much you have to scroll down because a whole heap of topics we cover. You know them but all they have to do is look at the thumbnail because Desmond Mackenzie face is big on it and Honest and the whole housing thing. Right? That's a old issue, man. That's a
Me know, but him man come like man of kill me, we cut me throat, so boy, then nothing go so. You never hear that yet.
Yeah, because you never hear it yet, no means nothing go so. What kind of?
He saying what everything's on, he said from the start to finish and this and him at this and that.
So when I hear people talk like that, them just ignorant, you know, because there's no way you can watch everything.
Believe you me?
There's no way you can watch everything. There's things that they're going to miss. You feel me?
Of course it is. Of course it is. And then watch things and take out where they want to take out.
Exactly. So what I'm going to do, I believe I found the video, right? So what I'm going to do, right? A video of the week, Desmond Mackenzie and Andrew Holness clap back social media housing program. So it's right around here. Proof that Desmond Mackenzie and Andrew Holness is lying about the housing program. This is a video as well that I did. Right? So I am going to play it. I'm going to play it.
Yeah, and me don't mind you send it me WhatsApp. I mean, that's me could have
you can go to even TikTok and go upon Dre Bryan. Dre Bryan has the clip on TikTok.
Okay.
That are even better. You can just go to TikTok and go to Dre Bryan TikTok and look for the social. Because I did bust it out, you know.
Yeah, me know.
Dre Bryan did bust it out and everybody catch and light your fire and run with the touch.
Because when I tell me understand, so they take down, then change the website, you know. Then take down the original website.
Which
and change the website.
Oh, for the housing program?
Right, for the incident housing program. Yeah, then take down the first.
It's too late.
Yeah, but we have it. That's why we say we want of it. Yeah, good. All right, bless you, brother.
Yeah, man, that's a fact.
Bless you. Bless you.
I spend too much time on this. It's all news.
Bless you.
We have all the parties to do right now. Alright. Alright, this one is a call me. Mighty God. I hate boy this a call me. Hold on there. I have to answer it boy. Hello.
Hello. Good afternoon, Bolo.
What's going on, sir?
Yes, thinking about the Prime Minister here destroying the country and doesn't want to give up power because he got a taste of power and he's enjoying the proceeds from that power and he wants to stay in power as long as possible. But I am happy for social media for stimulating the interest of the Jamaican people.
Yes.
You know, and even sometimes rile them up also, you know. God bless you guys.
Thank you, sir.
But the Prime Minister is determined. I don't know what is he holding on to. I'm certainly aware that he's holding on to money and that leverage to continue to run the order of the day and how things progress. But the people are suffering.
Right.
Hardship on the land. Institutions are malfunctioning. And the poverty is just getting worse. I don't know, man, but this is a determined guy.
Yeah,
you think he could ever come out and say anything bad about the Chinese? You must be crazy. When Andrew Holness came into power and met the Chinese, that was the best day of his life, my brother. That's when his wealth started to expand, you know. Don't think it's just SSL money here and there, you know. This guy has an interest in the Chinese nationals and their investments. The Chinese do bribery and they offer huge sums of money to get their business done.
Wow.
That is why they are pre-approved for all the benefits that are available in Jamaica.
Right.
Business. They have all the opportunities to do business because the government set it like that for them. As a Chinese national reach 18 years old, they can go to FLA and get a license gun here. Jamaicans can't get that.
Where's that?
Yes. Look here, the Chinese nationals, them get all the license firearm right now. All the license. Jamaicans can't get that. Them have a clause that says applicant does not establish the need to be harmed. You can't go around Shane Dallin, man. He's a cruel guy, you know. The guy literally stopped Jamaicans from getting gun permits.
No, sir.
Just the Chinese and a few persons who are politically connected. You don't have a chance, man. Whether you're handling sums of cash or working in risky environments, you still can't get through. Yeah, the government has a policy that the civilian population should certainly be curtailed with arms, you know?
Yeah.
Can't get it, man. And while you have a proliferation of illegal guns and ammunition. Right now, you know, most of us in Jamaica are left to the whims and fancy of the criminals, you know.
Yes, it's like a lamb to the slaughter.
Oh, yes, and you're not going to see any police there. When they're coming for people, the police not there to protect you.
Mighty God.
If you go to FLA, man, you only waste your money for application and tax fees and all of that.
You know.
That guy should be removed, man. Yes, and if he has obtained any wealth, it should be taken back by the Jamaican people.
I remember years ago.
And if his monies have touched the SWIFT payment system, he should be extradited to the US. Okay, go ahead.
To the point of the FLA thing, I remember years ago, a police friend of mine said if I lived in a certain area, you know, he could facilitate me getting my license firearm. It's all about links. It's all about links. It's all about links, you know. But I'm not sure if that is available now, though. I don't. I'm telling you about years ago.
You're right. No, you have to be prepared to drop big dollars. If you're not a Chinese national or running an industrial security company,
right?
You have to be prepared to drop big dollars to obtain a gun permit in Jamaica.
I'll have to reach out to persons that have direct link to my police. In terms of the farmers, given the fact that food security is such a important thing now, they need to facilitate the farmers getting their license firearms.
Well, they look down on them, you know.
Every farmer needs to have a rifle, or rifles, and license firearm to protect.
Yeah, but Andrew Holness and Shane Dallin look down on those Jamaican people. I'm telling you, man, why you think you saw that boom in construction? Is the Chinese behind it, you know? And the Prime Minister and his wife are major beneficiaries of the Chinese construction in Jamaica.
Wow.
Then come on, you think the Prime Minister could be so rich without the Chinese nationals and their companies?
Well, I am not privy to the information that you're privy to.
Well, it's on the ground. It's on the ground. You will see the amount of buildings the Chinese are putting up, both road and housing and commercial buildings also.
Construction for real. You can see it.
And they are expanding in other areas. But the Prime Minister tried to keep it in a very clandestine way.
Right.
He doesn't want to reveal everything to the Jamaican people because they know by revealing it, the US will get information also.
Right.
So Right now, I think that Andrew Holness has put the US government in an uncomfortable position, because the secrecy, he's not disclosing anything. He's making the US government work too hard to get information. So they're going to clamp him one of these days, They're going to clamp him, man. Let me tell you something, Bolo. A lot of those money stolen by Jamaican politicians have hit the American payment system called the SWIFT platform. My brother.
Yeah.
Money laundering in the US is one of the most serious crimes.
Yeah,
it is
that Friday for real.
Yes, man. Oh,
Yeah,
yes. A matter
right.
of fact, if you are convicted or suspected or arrested, brother, once they have any evidence, that you are involved in money laundering, all benefits have been locked away from you. Anywhere you are.
All assets seized.
Yes. So I'm telling you, at any time this guy can lose his money, because they have him. There is no way you as a prime minister can become a multi-billionaire and don't hit the SWIFT payment system, because US dollars have to be moving, and some of the banks they use are international banks.
Right.
So they have him with that. That's the price he had to pay to get so rich. Look here, you don't understand Andrew Holness, He's a very serious guy, You think that guy is going to give up power so easily? Why you think he put all the top police in his corner? Everywhere they have in function island-wide, he's there with the police. He has a meet and greet with all the divisional commanders in the country.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's public.
Let me tell you something.
That's a public meet and greet, because I'm always there on camera with them.
Yes, I'm telling you, this guy is going to use his security forces to create a lot of disruption in the election. This guy, look here. I look at the Prime Minister, and I see his deeds, This guy is a very determined guy. He's not fazed by anything anybody says.
Yeah.
The only way you can deal with a tyrant like Andrew Holness, you have to put him in custody, You can't have a man like that free on the road, man, with power and authority, man. The man can continue to wreak havoc in the lives of our Jamaican people.
Yeah.
Look here, man, these guys are so barefaced. You don't see who is the man's best government minister, man. Darrell Vaz is his best friend and best government minister, With a super ministry. Birds of a feather flock together. They are best friends. At one time in East Portland, after ISAT came out with a big meeting, and Darrell Vaz decided to respond with his wife up there, and they had something. And man, I saw Darrell Vaz put his head on the shoulder of Andrew Holness and smile. They found refuge in each other.
Wow.
Look here, the people of Jamaica they have to march out and protest and remove the Prime Minister. Foreign entity or government not going to play a critical role in doing so. Remember, we are the ones who are suffering. Look at Jamaica is characterized by land, wood and water. And it's pure dirty water they're supplying to customers. Children are suffering. So the clinics, the hospitals can't facilitate the children when they get sick from gastroenteritis, diarrhea, headache, vomiting. Some of them going to die.
Serious thing.
Because there's no medicine equipment to save their lives when they get sick. Just imagine KPH, where people who get injured from all over the island would want to go for emergency surgery and aftercare and everything. Nothing like that is going on at KPH now, It's only painkillers they're administering, my brother.
Dangerous.
I'm telling you, man, the country gone to the gutter. Andrew Holness is determined to hold on to power. But I see a serious battle because he decides that he is not giving up power. He has aligned himself to the security forces, you know, and that includes the army also, because all the army guys get top position in his government. There must be a reason why he's bolstering his apparatus like that, you know, Bolo.
Yeah.
Because
in cases, I'm on a play chess, you know, so man a play chess not really operate without purpose. I think
he's a determined guy, man. That guy not going to give up power to so easily. I'm telling you. Just remember this call. Even on election day, you will hear the amount of ballots that are either tampered with or thrown away. Look here. It's a rogue government, you know.
The fact that the EOJ is in its office is very concerning, and there's no political ombudsman.
Look here. You think that Andrew Holness is serious? Just you will see the true Andrew Holness in the incoming days to the election. Alright? You will see the true Andrew Holness. And he has a wife there too who is equally determined and more determined than him too.
Two of them born the same time, around the same time.
Some terrible people, man. Terrible people. They have destroyed the country and it's as if nothing is happening.
Alright, my boss.
They should pay the price. They should pay the price, man. Bolo,
yes,
what is Jamaica now on the world stage? We are like non-existent, you know. Andrew Holness all he's trying to do is to ride out the storm. That's what he lives by, you know.
Yeah.
He will never give up the Chinese nationals and their investment for the USA. The USA didn't help Andrew Holness to become rich. It's the Chinese nationals behind Andrew Holness's wealth.
Wow. So
yes.
Jamaicans get caught up in a make like that now.
Well, the government need to disclose what the Chinese really own in Jamaica, because I think it's about 60% of Jamaica is owned by Chinese now, you know.
What?
Yes, it's a lot. Because what the Holness administration has done over the 9 years is to facilitate the Chinese investments in road, land, buildings, and all sort of other industries, and even the ports, right? So, and at the same time, while all of that was going on, the Jamaica Labour Party regime collected significant sums of money from the Chinese to keep their empire going. Chinese don't give small money for bribery, Bolo. Big money Chinese give for bribery. Big money, life-changing money. Not money, they're not going to give you small money and then you just go and spend it the other day and it done like that. These guys will give you money that change your life forever. And that is what the Andrew Holness administration has facilitated with the Chinese investors.
Alright, my boss. On heavy.
Okay.
Oh,
very serious.
Very serious.
Okay.
Pick up yourself. Trust me, the message has been sent. Believe you me, the message has been sent. To you know, the caller that called me before. Like I said, all you have to do is go to Dre Bryan. See it here? All you have to do is go to Dre Bryan page on TikTok. Scroll down a little bit. Yes? And you'll find the video. The video is right here. This one. You see the thumbnail? Yes. So make we listen.
Handing over these
So all along Jamaica, we see the government handing over these homes to the poor and indigent. You mean to tell me that at the end of the day, these homes does not belong to the people? So all the land title them with them assign and make the people them assign land title. You mean to tell me say it does not belong to them at the end of the day? Eh? So the whole program and the indigent housing program, all the ribbon Andrew a cut and a give out land title and a give out keys. Jamaica, me can't catch myself when I listen to this Jamaica people.
The houses remains the property of the municipal corporations. So if someone die, the municipality retains the right of the house and it is passed on to someone who is in need. There is no duplication of the services provided by the Ministry of Local Government.
You hear that, Jamaica? What kind of shit in a plate this me I hear this afternoon? So all the keys them where Andrew are give out to the people them answer them own homes. You mean if you tell me say it not belong to them? So God forbid somebody dropped out. No relative can get the house. The house have to return to the government. Mighty God of Daniel, Jamaica, me can't catch myself this afternoon. Them something here. No, some them are not right. Me not get it. Somebody explain it to me. You know, hear Desmond Mackenzie say the houses them no belong to the people, it belong to the government. Mighty God. The man said the house no belongs to you, it belongs to the government. So in case somebody passed away, the house will return to the government and them are going to find another indigent person to put in the house. So basically, once again, the Jamaica Labour Party have deceived the people of this country and make them a sign away them land and a collect title and keys to house and make it seems like it belong to them. Mighty God! So all along Jamaica, we see the government
not just a mischievous, and some of you may have
Jamaica people may come for address.
And some of you may have seen not just a mischievous, but a malicious social media post, which would suggest that somehow this program is giving the houses and then taking them back. Despicable. And you know why it is despicable? Because it was specifically crafted to target a program that is delivering good benefit to the people of Jamaica. Why? They are trying to tear down this program for political gain. But you know what the real disgusting thing is? They are playing up on the ignorance of people. Because even people who we would usually ascribe intelligence to, people who are well-read, people who are educated but can't overcome their biases, would have seen this stupid social media post and without checking, without verifying, without applying even a tinge of skepticism, would have accepted it because it plays into their bias, looking for something to criticize when nothing is there. And so it plays upon ignorance. Ignorance.
First of all, Andrew, big up yourself, bro, God, and thanks for the free publicity, but there is nothing despicable or ignorant about the post. All was said was reiterating what your Minister of Local Government said. The man said the houses them no belong to the people, and God forbid if somebody should pass away, that house will be given to somebody else less fortunate and in need. Nothing was added, nothing was subtracted. But thanks to the free publicity, Prime Minister Andrew Holness, right? But what you have caused now, right, is for so many persons to see this clip that you post on your page
And now my DM is filled with threats thanks to you, Prime Minister of Jamaica. So I just come here to let Jamaica know, if anything should happen to Dre Bryan within the next 24 hours or beyond, the Jamaica Labour Party is responsible and the Prime Minister of Jamaica is responsible, because all I did was to reiterate what his Minister of Local Government had said. No lies told, nothing malicious. So thanks to you, Prime Minister Andrew Holness, if anything should happen to me within the next 24 hours, you is responsible and your Jamaica Labour Party operatives are responsible. I have been getting threats left, right and center since you made this post. My DMs are filled with threat messages and persons are calling my phone non-stop and threatening me, thanks to you, Prime Minister of Jamaica, Andrew Holness. So Jamaica, just in case, if anything should happen to me, Dre Bryan, this gentleman on the screen, the Prime Minister of Jamaica, is responsible. Thank you for your time, and thank you so much, Jamaica, for staying with Dre Bryan. The word is love.
So, for the virgin who call me, that is it, my general. That is it. That's all you have to do. All you have to do, all you have to do, my brother, is play that. Play those two things. For your virgin will say a lie or whatever. You clearly heard what came out of Desmond Mackenzie out the mouth. You clearly heard what came out of his mouth. So, whether they want to talk about the housing, the indigenous housing program, or the other program, to suggest it's two different programs, listen, even out of the press showed, and she showed the article, she showed the website, she showed the statements that came out of both Andrew Holness' mouth and Desmond Mackenzie. What has happened, ladies and gentlemen? They have been caught in a lie. They have been caught in a lie. Alright? So for those that don't want to do any research, they are going to take what the Prime Minister says and run with it. You understand? So yeah, he's the one that is playing on the ignorance of the people that support him. Hey man, listen, I don't know why he does stuff like that, but let's get into the real part of why I'm here, ladies and gentlemen. Let's get into the real part of why I'm here. Alright, and I want to thank the callers that calls today. You know, big up Head Boy, you know, hey, it is what it is, man. When he calls, man, you know, he got some things on his heart. So respect to him for the call and what he had to contribute. Again, the views and opinions of the people that call is of their own. Cannot put that on the content creator. This is a space where they are free to, you know, speak their mind, and of course nothing is illegal in speaking allegations as long as he's willing to stand on it, but that has nothing to do with alright. Not my views and opinions. I don't know nothing about these people. What happened to this? Yo, what's going on? It's the back part is the okay, I got it. I need this thing on. It's very important that I have it on. This computer will run very, very hot, ladies and gentlemen. Just give me a second. Let me fix this issue. And we'll be back to the regular scheduled program. Like and share the video, man. I noticed from the other days, like the liking are going, but I don't know the sharing stop. You know, when you have like 100+ people in the chat, at some point, you know, if you share to enough people, we can get 100 more in it. And when they come, they can share some more, and then that's how it goes, right? But I'm thankful for those who are here. So let's continue. But I want to encourage you guys to like and share, alright? Alright, so ladies and gentlemen, let's get into the press conference of the People's National Party. Because, you know, Fayval Williams, mighty God have done it. She just came and she just spewed a whole bunch of lies, and I was not surprised that this particular video was done by the People's National Party. I was pretty much expecting it, because the amount of lies she told, they had to respond. So let's hear it, all right? Let's get to it.
First up will be the persons who are watching online. Today is a good day indeed.
I'll have to just run it on normal speed, because that 1.25 is too fast. All right, let's get it.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the post-budget press conference of the People's National Party. Welcome to members of the media, those who are present here with us in person and those who are online, and to also other persons who are watching online. Today is a good day indeed. The Jamaican people have been suffering for a prolonged period of time, and there are a set of proposals that have been put forward to lessen the burden on the people of this country. And where some are opposed to those proposals because they did not conceptualize them,
exactly.
We have a competent team here today that will go through the proposals, cost them, and show you how they will be funded so we can ease the burden on the Jamaican people. First up will be the leader of the party and the next Prime Minister of Jamaica, Mark Golding. Please make him welcome.
Thank you very much, Dr. Campbell. Greetings to everybody who is here, all members of the media, those who are watching online. It's indeed a pleasure to be with you today. So, in the just concluded budget debate, the opposition, People's National Party, through our spokesperson for finance, Julian Robinson, and myself, put forward our vision for the first term of office of the next PNP government. We took the opportunity to lay out some of our proposals as to how to make Jamaica a better place for all, to encourage economic growth, moving from the stagnation, which has been a feature of this government's management of the economy, moving to higher levels of growth that can create more wealth for our people, can create more fiscal space for social investments and for infrastructure investments and so on. In the closing of the budget debate, the Minister of Finance attempted some political gimmickry to portray the proposals that we've made as being somehow not lacking credibility or being irresponsible and so on. Nothing could be further from the truth. We have gone through our proposals with care and attention and diligence. We've used the available data from the sources that are publicly known, the budget books and the fiscal policy paper and other instruments that have been tabled with the budget and other available information to analyze the costing of our proposals and how we would be able to pay for them. The ministers tried to make out that what we were proposing in our presentations was an implied budget. That is not what we were doing, and we never said that we were doing that. We were putting forward our policy commitments for the first term, and the term of office is up to 5 years while we are in government. Clearly, the phasing of our proposals will take into account the fiscal rules, the priorities that we have, and the situations that unfold and affect the economy going forward. I reiterate that we are very committed to fiscally prudent management of the economy. Indeed, the fiscal rules that have guided the debt reduction over the last over 10 years are a result of the work that we did, when we were last in government and were legislated by us during that time, and those rules have guided the entire process of budgeting over the period since, and the surpluses that needed to be driven so that we could bring down the national debt to where it is now at a roughly 69% of GDP. But everyone, I think, accepts that having managed to grapple with the debt monster and tame it and bring it under control, we need to now pivot. We need to now move forward in a new way so that we can start to take the economy in a direction that can deliver for the Jamaican people and provide solutions to the deep problems that we face. And that is what our program is designed to do. So the question is, how is it to be funded? As you will see in the course of this press conference, we have come up with a series of ideas, some of which would be paid for out of the budget in each year going forward, some of which would be paid for by the agencies which have the responsibility for those particular items. And the totality of the budget cost of our proposals based on our estimates is $23 billion annually. And that would be assuming that everything was rolled out from day one. And that does not include the 11.4 billion, which the law has as ending, the extraction of 11.4 billion from NHT, which the law has ending at the end of this coming fiscal year. So the year ending March 2026 is by law currently the last year that these extraction of resources, annual extraction of resources from NHT is allowed and authorized. So we have assumed that that will not be extended.
No, ladies and gentlemen, that is very important. And we have to keep a note of that. The money, the 11.4 billion from the NHT that the government has taken, which the same Prime Minister of today said that he would not take in an interview years ago with Dean Jackson Miller. Its legalities will expire this budget, this year. So after this year, legally, the government cannot take the $11.4 billion from NHT. However, I think Mark Bolin had said that, you know, he's not sure the position of the JLP if they want to extend the law for it to continue. But under the PMP, it will not continue when they make government. Very important to know. Let's continue. See?
And in any event, we do not intend to extend it. The government hasn't said what their position on that is. But the society as a whole, I believe, is not in favor of any further extraction of resources from the NHT to fund.
And I want to ask the people, are you guys comfortable with Andrew Holness extracting the $11.4 billion from the NHT, or do you want the NHT money to do what it was supposed to do, which is help us to that pay our taxes, NHT, NIS, whatever we pay, TR and everything, so that we can access loans, right, that we are qualified for, so we can build our own homes? Are you guys, what do you guys want? Let me know in the chat. Let me know. Let me know in the comment section. Let me know.
On the budget. So we will be putting an end to that. So how will we pay for the $23 billion of expenditure that our programs aggregate to, and stopping the annual extraction of 11.4 billion from the NHT? First of all, as I've said, we have to comply with the fiscal rules, and the phasing and timing of the implementation of our proposals will be subject to compliance with those things. But it's very important to understand, first of all, that in this year's budget, which is roughly $1.27 trillion, there is $360 billion of what is described as discretionary expenditure. That is expenditure that is decided on by the political directorate based on their priorities, and is separate from interest payments, which are always have to be provided for in the budget by the Constitution, and also salaries of public sector workers. So that $360 billion represents the issues that this government has over time decided are important for the nation. Now, nobody would expect an incoming government of the PNP, having been voted in on a mandate to deliver the change that we are bringing to the society, to just follow the priorities of the government that would have been voted out to give us, to put us into office. So clearly, that 360 billion will be reconfigured, and we will go through it very carefully, line by line, to decide what programs we will keep, what programs we will scale down, what programs we might discontinue altogether, what programs we might defer, so as to create room for the 23 billion that we want to roll out of that $360 billion.
Now, for the people that are listening, right, simply what Mr. Golden is saying is that there's a certain amount of money that is allocated for the budget, which you're seeing on your screen. The 360 billion, out of that, all he wants or requires for his budget is 23 point something billion. They were asking the PNP, how is it that they're going to fund their budget? And he just explained how he's going to do that. There's going to be some things that they're going to change. Some programs they're going to discontinue. Some programs they're going to scale down on. That means put less money in to facilitate their budget. The JLP, being the deceptive cowards that they are, decided to insinuate that somehow it's going to be FinSac 2.0. You understand? Because they did not understand how the PNP, or did not try to understand how the PNP would actually fund their budget. And this is why this dialogue or this press conference was very important. So that is simple, that, ladies and gentlemen, right? There's no more extra money that's gonna. The PNP is saying we are not going to be less fiscally prudent than the previous administration that you're going to vote out. We're going to be as fiscally prudent. However, where they put their money is not where we are going to put all our money, because they want to still stay fiscally prudent and disciplined while growing the economy. Something that the JLP has not been able to do for the last 9 years. Even after promising a 5-in-1, 5-in-4, right? They promised a 5-in-4 with Nigel Clark, and they have not achieved it, ladies and gentlemen. But let's continue.
Secondly, it is important to note that, as this document here shows, which is the Government of Jamaica's fiscal policy paper, which is tabled nowadays with each budget, that was part of the transformational fiscal regime that we implemented when we were in office last, which requires this to be done. It has projections in it, and those projections show what the government is anticipating: the revenues, expenditures, debt, inflation, all of the important parameters that affect the economy and affect the public financing, how those will be projected for the next 4 years going forward. In this document, they are projecting increasing revenues by about $240 billion over the next 4 years, just by virtue of nominal inflation, prices moving over time. Jamaica now our tax system is heavily weighted towards indirect taxation, which is a taxation on the value of goods and services either imported or sold within the economy. So that 240 area or $1 billion of additional or new expenditure that we would need to fund. And furthermore, I was looking at the projections again today, and if you look at the expenditure projections from 25-26, which is the coming fiscal year, and going forward, and you were to inflate the expenditure projections for the coming year by the projected rate of inflation, which is 5%, and you take and you inflate that other than interest, which is not subject to inflation, and you just use the projected interest numbers, you'll see that there's $36 billion of additional expenditure for the following fiscal year, over and above the increases that of 5% on what is being projected for this year, which is more than the coverage that we need to fund our 22 billion. So this whole nonsense, I can only call it nonsense, that our proposals are not credible, that our proposals cannot be financed, this idea of a FinSac, which is just a bogeyman being raised by the Minister of Finance for political purposes, that is all nonsense, not Nogoso. Our plans are credible, and we will ensure that the fiscal rules are complied with.
Embarrassing. We need some milk.
Well. I hope that we have gained a better understanding from the next Prime Minister of Jamaica, Mark Golding, that, you know, Fayval Williams and the Jamaica Labour Party is political gimmickry. They understand that the People's National Party's plans are solid, that they have. They just wish that they were the ones that said it first. And because they were not able to steal the idea, because the PNP were so strategic by not putting out their plans early, it burned them. You know what
So I'm going to now go through the specific measures that we have outlined in our budget presentation and how we have costed them. I will take some of those. I will ask Damien Crawford, our Shadow Minister for Education.
All right, so that was the intro, ladies and gentlemen. That was the intro, because you don't want to load up the people them too much, you know. We don't want to load the people them too much. You have to give them time to digest the information, yes? So that is just the intro, my good people. Alright. Let me see. Can we, I want you guys to see the graph, you know. That's my thing. So it's more important for me for you guys to see this information that is on the screen, instead of seeing Mark Golding. Mark Golding, them, alright, them can stay up with, and you can hear them with the information is important. Alright, so let's continue from here. Let's go.
To speak to those that are specific to his portfolio. Julian will speak to some as well. So if I could have the next slide, please. We will begin with the first, which is the 1 meal per student per day. And I will ask Damien to speak to that.
Thank you very much.
Come through, Mr. Crawford.
Thank you for the opportunity to participate in this press conference, and a special good morning to those who are listening and the journalists who are present and online. We as a People's National Party has proposed verbatim that we would have 1 meal per needy child in school. It is confusing to us that the Minister of Finance, the past Minister of Education, would posit that that number of needy children would be 400,000, when currently they propose to feed 167,000 children. So the Minister of Education, former Minister of Education, have already stated that she believes that over 200,000 needy children would not be fed under their current policies. However, we feel that the cost per meal should not be $280 per child, as is currently being provided, but instead $400 per child. This $280 have long been stated by principals and other practitioners within education to be insufficient to feed the children. Many have caused for ask for another $100 from the children, and some have reduced the number of days that they have been able to feed the children. So we propose a $400 per meal for primary and secondary school children. The number of days in the school year, which we all know and agree, is 190 days in the year.
So, Fayval, I hope you pay attention to what the man is saying now. $400 a day, right? Current part allocation is 280, which is insufficient and has been proven insufficient. So when they boast about what they're doing for the children, it is not a sufficient program that they're running, right? And the teachers have verified that. So he said the number of schools a day is 190 per year. Percentage of children, yeah, let's continue.
Percentage of children needing meals was estimated at 56% of children needing meals. This is based on the recent survey that suggested that severe or moderate food insecurity was 55.6%. So we carried that 56% of our people are within that space. The total number of children we have in school is 440,000. Therefore, the number of children in need of meals will be 246,400. The total cost of the proposal, therefore, multiplying 246,400 by 190 days for $400 is $18.7 billion. However, the book that everyone seems to be most concerned about has a current school feeding budget of $8.98 billion. So the additional would be approximately $9.9 billion.
Hope everybody understood that, right? So the current bill that they have for the school feeding budget is $8.98 billion. The allocated budget that the PNP wants to roll out to give the kids sufficient sufficient meals, right? Right? Not just to say that they got meals, but sufficient. Much like discipline, yes, sufficient is on the other spectrum of that, right? And so the proposed cost is 18.9 billion. When you minus the already 8.98 billion from the 18.7 billion proposal of 246,400 times by 190, which would be multiplied by 400, you would get the 18.7 billion. So you just minus the 8.9 billion from that, and you get 9.7 billion. You see it big over there, saying a yellow. So that's what it would cost. It would cost the PMP an extra 9.7 billion. Now, when I listen to Fayval budget, you know, you would think, oh my God, she gave these inflated numbers. And I was just sitting there saying, man, yo, Damian Crawford is gonna cook this lady. I was listening to the budget. I'm saying, man, Damian Crawford and Julian Robinson is gonna cook this lady. Because all I was seeing was just exaggerations. And I'm not even a guru at this whole thing. You know what I'm saying? Yes, it's just coming from where? Wait a minute, from where? I hope you guys are good enough. Alright, let's continue.
So $9.7 billion. So therefore, the additional that we will need to find to adequately feed the 56% of children that research has shown is likely to have difficulties in eating meals are going to be 9 billion. And again, we ask for the Jamaicans to recognize that the minister in her proposal, in her suggestion, suggests that 400,000 children are in need, of which they have made a budget to feed only 170,000, less than 170,000, leaving the other 230,000 to be sacrificed by the Jamaica Labour Party. The other proposal that we put forward is an estimate of cost for tertiary education. It is the policy objective of the People's National Party to have 1 degree per household or its equivalent. It is important that we highlight a level 4 vocation is equivalent to a degree. Within that, to facilitate that policy objective, we like to do a first in the family scholarship, meaning that the first person within a household that matriculates to the university will receive a scholarship. Ridiculously, and is a ludicrous word, but yes, quite ludicrous. The minister seemed to assume that all children in a particular age cohort will matriculate to the university.
Embarrassing. We need some milk.
Say that again, dear man. Say that again.
1 degree per household or its equivalent.
It
is important that we highlight a level 4 vocation is equivalent to a degree. Within that, to facilitate that policy objective, we like to do a first in the family scholarship, meaning that the first person within a household that matriculates to the university will receive a scholarship. Ridiculously, and is a ludicrous word, but yes, quite ludicrous. The minister seemed to assume that all children in a particular age cohort will matriculate to the university, while it was her mismanagement of education that has caused for only 18% to matriculate.
Embarrassing. We need some milk. Emotional damage.
What can go so?
Fayval, after you destroy or help to destroy the educational system and tear it down, you come as Minister of Finance and I puff out your chest and I make these ridiculous. Dear man, fix our business again, my boss. Fix our business again, then. Fix our business.
That matriculates to the university will receive a scholarship. Ridiculously, and is a ludicrous word, but yes, quite ludicrous. The minister seemed to assume that all children in a particular age cohort will matriculate to the university. Why?
Matriculate simply means to move on and qualify to go to the university. That's all matriculate mean, alright people? And if you want me to look up the word phono, look up the word phono, because it's not like everybody understand everything, and I don't want to miss what he's saying. You understand? Matriculate. Alright? So right here, so it means to enroll at college or university. See? That's all the word matriculate means. Get me? Alright, let's continue.
It was her mismanagement of education that has caused for only 18% to matriculate. So while we would have hoped that all would be able to matriculate, her lack of activity and change within the ministry has caused for only 18% of our children to currently matriculate to the university. This will be something that we will target moving forward as well. However, we have to use our current circumstances for our current budget. Therefore, of the 36,000 children within the age cohort, only 18% are currently matriculating. We also have organized to assume what is the percentage of children are matriculating that will be the first in the family. Again, another feature of our society is that the vast majority of those performing at the secondary level matriculating to university are of the upper echelons of society and from families that already have a degree within that family. And so we assume 1 in every 4 person matriculating to the university, or 25%, will be first in the family. Again, another reality that we will target as the People's National Party, and that we have been targeting. Indeed, whenever there is a proposal, a plan for the movement of these people, the JLP has always sought to suggest that these are bad policy plans. They said the same about Michael Manley. They said the same about PJ Patterson led government. Indeed,
people, you hear what the man say, and him don't tell a lie. He has not told a lie on the JLP over the years. Yeah, the JLP has always been opposed. From Michael Manley days till now. Always been opposed. But how can we be surprised when they were part of the whole plan to destabilize Jamaica using Siaga and the CIA? Right? Siaga being a part of the CIA. Those documents are out. This is public knowledge now. We can talk about it freely. Some people had suspicions, but now we have evidence. You understand? So never forget, them talking about choose Jamaica. Yes, choose the PMP. That's how you choose Jamaica. And listen, don't choose the JLP. That's how you choose Jamaica. By not choosing them. Alright?
I wonder how can it be posited that a government of PJ Patterson that moved tertiary access from 6% to 19% could be perceived to be a bad government of any sort in any country. Notwithstanding, our average annual cost per student is $600,000. We are very wary of a Minister of Finance that is refusing to do research, because if you call the university...
Oh my God! Refusing to do research. Damn!
Emotional damage.
Embarrassing.
He needs some milk.
Nah, we gotta play that back. What did he say?
The plan. They said the same about Michael Manley. They said the same about PJ Patterson led government. Indeed, I wonder how can it be posited that a government of PJ Patterson that moved tertiary access from 6% to 19% could be perceived to be a bad government of any sort in any country. Notwithstanding, our average annual cost per student is $600,000. We are very wary of a Minister of Finance that is refusing to do research, because if you call the universities, MICO, for example, less than 400,000, the teachers' colleges, UTEC, less than 600,000, and many UWI degrees is less than 600,000. Where would she find that the average cost of education is 900,000 is beyond me. And it is likely, therefore, that the same 18% might be the targets we achieve, might be 18% of those targets. Can you just so when we do that total, the number of students in the 4 years of university at any given time of between for the first in the family would be approximately 6,480 students in years 1, 2, 3, 4 combined. The total annual cost of all first generation students across the year cohorts, therefore, is approximately $3.9 billion.
Now, this part is very important. The total number of first in family students across all year cohorts is 6,480 students. Total annual cost for all first generation students is 3.9 billion. Let me see if we get that understanding there clear. Let me go back a little bit. Let me hear myself.
At the same 18% might be the targets we achieve, might be 18%
Last song,
of those
what's up,
targets.
love?
Can you just so when we do that total, the number of students in the 4 years of university at any given time of between for the first in the family would be approximately 6,480 students in years 1, 2, 3, 4 combined. The total annual cost of all first generation students across the year.
So that's what I'm trying to figure out. So is 6,480 students is the total number of students that would be benefiting from the program in the first in the family degree, and the total annual cost would be $3.9 billion annually. All right. Well, let me people, let me play that. Let's go back a little bit, please.
Can you just so when we do that total, the number of students in the 4 years of university at any given time of between for the first in the family would be approximately 6,480 students in years 1, 2, 3, 4 combined. The total annual.
So the number combined is 6,480 for the 4 years. Oh, okay. Got it.
Annual cost of all first generation students across the year cohorts, therefore, is approximately $3.9 billion and not 31 billion has been.
Hold on there. Millicent Spence, first time seeing you. Yes, I actually covered the Rubio part at the first part, you know. If I saw it. Oh, yeah. I actually did a reaction to the last question because the last question was the question, you know. Well, let's continue.
Been posited by the minister in her false number of students in the 4 years of university at any given time of between for the first in the family would be approximately 6,480 students in years 1, 2, 3, 4 combined. The total annual cost of all first generation students across the year cohorts, therefore, is approximately $3.9 billion and not 31 billion has been posited by the minister in her false.
Embarrassing. We need some milk.
So Fayval, how could you be so off? You posited $31 billion for that, Fayval? What a wicked act. Mighty God. 31 billion, Fayval. 31. How could your maths be so off, Fayval? 31 billion, Fayval. 31 billion. Alright, so literally that is what? 10% of the 31 billion is the actual amount that is going to cost for the 6,480 students. And you're the finance minister, Fayval? Jamaica ball out.
Ball out! Whoa, yeah. We need help, Jesus. Jamaica need help. Shift the parliament. Shift the election. Shift everything. Remove them out there. Take out the cockroach. Take out the thief. Take out the criminal them. Take out the thief them. Take out the murderer them. Take out the gang leader them. Out of parliament. Take them out. From Portland. Take them out. I hear Portland. Me go Portland. Why me I travel to Portland? Take out somebody, man or woman.
Courts, therefore, is approximately $3.9 billion and not 31 billion has been posited by the minister in her false accusations. The estimate for the RIDE program, again, this is a program that we have posited. The Prime Minister have chosen to seek a response. A very different program, which we'll expound upon in future conversations, but not just the provision in 2 or 3 parishes and whoever get the bus, but instead a targeted approach.
Shots fired. Let me play that back. Hello, shots fired.
The estimate for the RIDE program, again, this is a program that we have posited. The Prime Minister have chosen to seek a response. A very different program, which we'll expound upon in future conversations, but not just the provision in 2 or 3 parishes and whoever get the bus, but instead a targeted approach of 20,000 students with demonstrating need. Initially, we'll target those who are most in need and scale up as the fiscal space allow to those who may be currently less in need but still would desire to have that assistance. So the current program that the government have is targeting 7,500 students. No wonder we have persisted to have an absenteeism ratio of approximately 24% in Jamaica. Chronic absenteeism is stated to be 10%. So Jamaica in its entirety is operating under chronic absenteeism. To help to fix that, we will target transportation, especially because we embrace school choice within this society. The subsidy is up to $2,500 per week, depending on the cost of travel, and each student gets the benefit of up to this amount. 38 weeks for school per year. The initial annual cost, therefore, will be $1.9 billion. Of course, we would subtract from that what they currently have allocated for the 7,500.
People, we have royalty in the building, you know. Mystic sensation. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're not subbed up, I don't know what you do with your life. Half of your life gone if you're not sub up to Mystic sensation, you know, ladies and gentlemen. I'm telling you. You have to go there to get the investigative exclusives on this terrible, uncaring, wicked government. You understand? Yes. So make sure someone go subscribe to Mystic Sensation. Mystic Sensation, big up yourself. You understand? You and your wife, big up on yourself. Yeah, man, subscribe to the platform, man. Let me drop the link for you. Make sure someone go subscribe, ladies and gentlemen. That's it? No joke. Only for manners and respect. See the link there, right there, so people. Alright? You're a silent watcher. Big up yourself, Mystic. So people, want to see right here, so he's explaining they feed the children. You understand? Give them a meal per day and even the money for go to school. You feel me? I did with RIDE program. See, and they are targeting the most vulnerable persons, our children that need the benefit. 20,000 students approximately. And you see he's showing that it's only 7,500 students at this point. So even though the government is doing something, what the PMP is showing you with real fiscal prudence and discipline, there is much more room for improvement and much more that can be done. Yes, and more in this instance is always good because you're talking about affecting the youth life. This is something that will help to keep students in school. Because you hear the man talk about students not going to school because them don't have food to eat and them don't have bus fare. It's a real thing. You get me? I was one of those students where, listen, I am not from a rich home. You understand what I'm saying? But I have peers that work very hard. You understand? And them do what they can do for us. And I remember a point when it was so hard that sometimes I had to go to school without fear. I was walking out the door in faith going to school because I literally wanted to go to school and get an education. You understand? So those things are real. So if you have the government increase the amount of children that is really in need to actually get that. You remember me used to wake up early in the morning, you know. Alright, so say for instance you get a certain amount of money But to the distance where I go to school, the money not enough for bus fare and everything. So what I would do, I would get up so early in the morning. You have certain people that travel the distance that is going to a further distance that is like Juta buses and stuff like that. And you know, I would go to the gas station and I noticed, wait a minute, one time I go down there early and I noticed, hold on. But this person say, yo, I said, driver, can I get a ride to such and such? And them say, yeah man, me I go such and such, man. Me I go that way there. So them just drop me off on the main and me just walk up at school. You understand? So, yo, them thing here real people. This is a real issue, man. I tell you.
As they will be incorporated in this 20,000 persons.
Oh, and the next thing too, it also helps in reducing the level of crime in the country. Because the more students that are vulnerable in this instance, these gangsters now, these people that are so quote-unquote dance, can go influence the youth and say, yeah man, me I put a gun in there and I go do some work for me. Next thing you know, the youth lose him life. Next thing you know, the youth then want life a crime or him in a prison for the rest of his life. Because you know, say now, and Jones I give people 15 years in a prison for both gun, you know. And members say him say radam. You get what I say? So, to prevent those things from happening, we have to go to the source. Keep our education system on point. It's very important that our youths are educated and see a hope and a future where them can actually go to college and make something of themselves and increase. Listen, education and agriculture is very important. I'm just saying, big up the PNP. Let's continue.
Thank you very much. And I think that we have satisfactorily stated that education is the hallmark of the People's National Party.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Damien.
All right, so that's the Damien side of it, ladies and gentlemen. Because as segments, we have to do it in you know. Members of it, the like button, ladies and gentlemen. Let's go to the next portion of this.
So there you have it. We've costed our meal program, 1 meal per student per day. The RIDE program providing a subsidy up to $2,500 per week for 20,000 students. And the First in Family scholarships, which would reach over 6,000 students. And we've costed all of that out.
Before the next Prime Minister continue, you see, I was watching a video from a young lady in Africa, and she said that we, the people of Africa, the government, has to make agriculture attractive. So, you know how this beautiful young lady on the screen right now, look with her natural hair, smiling, clean with the produce and the presentation. This is good. This is good. The next level is what the Mr. Hubert Ryan Williams said, right? The farm in St. Thomas is going to be so attractive under him. A big bank. When they see the money start roll out into them bends, that's what makes agriculture attractive. Because you see the youths them now, if you're not show them, you know, them not interested, you know. So when you can show them, say, all right, Bridget, I'm a farmer, and you see what I'm driving? Yes, but the work is hard, you know, but you see what I'm living? That, ladies and gentlemen, is going to encourage more farmers, you understand, and more young men to want to go into farming. And with the government looking to really give back to the people in terms of the allocation of lands and housing programs, trust me, it's all coming together, ladies and this is the government. I'm telling you, the plans that they have, it is really touching on everything, and I can see the vision. I don't know about anybody else, but I can see it. I can feel it. I can taste it. I cannot wait to have it. Alright, so let's make sure we're ready to vote, ladies and gentlemen. We only have 5 days to go. Let's continue.
The data that we have. I now move to agriculture. We have a proposal to establish an agricultural development fund, and we have looked at the average annual food import taxes levied, and we've applied a percentage to that, and we've arrived at a 2.5 billion annual amount, which is really from the existing tax base that we would specifically earmark for this agricultural development fund to give our farmers the support they need to be productive, to move forward. And that is within the envelope that we are able to fund, as I've said. I should mention that yesterday in Parliament, the government brought a bill to amend the GCT Act to remove GCT from food imports of fresh produce, vegetables, and meats. And it was the intervention of the opposition that caused the government to suspend debate on that bill. And that, is important to note, because when that GCT is removed from those imports, any of those goods that compete with local domestic farmers are going to be have an advantage which they don't currently have now, and make life even harder for our farmers to survive. Next slide, please. Small business.
We can't just move past that. Thank God for the PMP. Mighty God of Daniel. Can you imagine if that bill was passed yesterday? It was premature, like the opposition leader said, soon to be the Prime Minister of Jamaica. It was premature. Right? So thank God for them for being, sharp in raising the questions that he raised. You understand? Thank God for the future Prime Minister for being sharp. Because that bill would not be helping our farmers. Mighty God, let's continue.
I'm going to ask Julian to speak to this.
Thank you very much. We proposed a waive of corporate income tax for new MSMEs that are establishing for the first 3 years. And we propose that we have made an allocation of $1 billion for this. If we got data from the Companies Office of Jamaica to look at the number of MSMEs, a number of companies that are established each year, and that is in the region of about 5,000 new companies per year on average over the last 3 years. Now, not every single company is going to pay taxes initially in their first year or necessarily make a profit. But we made an assumption that, let's say, 60% of them would actually make a profit. Based on that, we have also done a calculation of what that profit would look like. And so the loss or the impact on the Treasury for offering that tax waiver for 1 year is $1 billion. Nowhere near the $11 billion that the minister has announced. And I want to remind the country.
Shame on your Fayval. Shame on you.
Embarrassing. He needs some milk.
Shame on you, Fayval. What the general said? Yeah, man, they were very vigilant. Very vigilant. Shame on your Fayval.
For offering that tax waiver for 1 year is $1 billion. Nowhere near the $11 billion that the minister has announced. And I want to remind the country why we're doing this. Jamaica has a very high level of informality in our business sector, mainly because businesses stay outside the formal system to avoid paying tax. We want them in the formal system because even though you're not paying corporate income tax, when you're in the formal system, you'll be contributing to GCT, you're employing people, your payroll tax. There are a number of other benefits to companies coming into that formal system. And we believe this incentive is important to encourage businesses, MSMEs, to come into the formal system. So based on our calculation, looking at the history of the compliance and also taking into account that businesses get a $375,000 income tax credit every single year. So if, for example, let me use a simple example. Let's say your profits are $5 million, right? Or 25%. No, your profits are $500,000. You pay 25% of that. That's $125,000. So you will already have a credit from the corporate income tax. So the figures presented by the minister are nowhere near accurate in terms of what that revenue give up would be.
Before we move to the next slide,
shame on Fayval.
1 point on this issue. I just want to make 1 point. The minister clearly had a pro box moment.
Wait a sec. Where you say, bossy? Where you say? Hey,
that is funny, honey.
Hey, Marky Cheese.
That's funny.
Oh my God,
that is funny.
Marky Cheese, I feel like I have a pro box moment.
Can I just make 1 point on this issue? I just want to make 1 point. The minister clearly had a pro box moment on this issue, because when she's projecting that the measure to give a 3-year tax holiday for newly formed MSMEs would cost over $11 billion per year. What that suggests is that the newly formed SMEs are making profits of over $40 billion a year. Now that's more than the profits of the entire financial sector. Come on, Minister.
Oh my God, no, Fayval. Oh,
Embarrassing. He needs some milk.
Yo, who set up Fayval Williams? Who wrote that speech? Yo, who put those numbers together? Is somebody sabotaging Fayval Williams? Bro, she couldn't be that off. 40 that she really said? Oh no, play that back. Oh.
To give a 3-year tax holiday for newly formed MSMEs would cost over a moment. Jules, can I just make one point on this? On this issue, I just want to make one point. The minister clearly had a pro-box moment on this issue, because when she's projecting that the measure to give a 3-year tax. The minister clearly had a pro-box moment on this issue, because when she's projecting that the measure to give a 3-year tax holiday for newly formed MSMEs would cost over $11 billion per year. What that suggests is that the newly formed SMEs are making profits of over $40 billion a year.
No, what is key to note, to show you how our numbers is off, these are newly formed businesses. Now, for a newly formed business to be making over $40 billion, mighty God, 40 billion newly formed businesses, SMEs, small businesses, collectively is making the newly formed ones. That in itself shows you that was off. That was way off. Fayval, oh my God, Fayval, no. No, Fayval.
Take his microphone.
Fayval, I'm ushering you out, Fayval.
Just a minute.
Yeah.
Take his microphone.
Nah, Fayval.
Usher him out.
Nah, you gotta go.
Usher him out.
Yo, somebody take Fayval
Usher him
microphone.
out.
Anytime Fayval take the microphone in Parliament, somebody take our. No, this bad.
Now that's more than the profits of the entire financial sector. Is that the to give a 3-year tax holiday for newly formed MSMEs would cost over $11 billion per year. What that suggests is that the newly formed SMEs are making profits of over $40 billion a year. Now that's more than the profits of the entire financial sector. Come on, Minister. Stop misleading the public. Yeah.
I want to go next to a sector that has provided
cervix in women continues to claim so many lives of Jamaica's women. We will launch a national screening program to identify the diseases that are the top killers of Jamaicans and treat them early and more effectively. No, your numbers are joke. Joking that. Prevention and early treatment are easier, cheaper, and more effective than late cures. They specialize in gimmicks. We specialize in real solutions to bring lasting change.
Allow Jamaica to punch above its weight. We have said we're going to put aside $1 billion for a cultural and creative industry fund. We know that there's a fund for filmmakers, but there are so many other subsectors that are not accounted for. There are people who sing, there are people who dance, there are painters, there are musicians, there are artists, there are the full gamut. We have said we're going to provide this fund to enable them to grow their businesses. Many of them are in export-led businesses. They're providing a service, but they are creative, but they don't necessarily have the financial backing to expand the business in the way that we believe is important to facilitate export-led growth. So we are allocating $1 billion, and we're going to work with using the DBJ as the main entity to disburse the funds to facilitate the creation of business plans. We provide the technical assistance as well so that these individuals can grow. That's a commitment of our party. We have seen where our cultural icons, have put Jamaica on the map, whether it is in sport, is in music, and we are committed to supporting that sector even further.
Now, I am very excited about that because that is speaking to the era that we are. That's speaking to the era that I am in and all of us that are YouTubers. You get what I say? So I applaud that. I champion it and I'm happy about it. Let's continue.
Now, the asset tax, again, I think this was a pro-box moment of the minister. But I want to explain the thinking behind the phasing out of the asset tax. I said three things in my budget presentation. First, that we would make access to government deposits competitive versus a system now where the two big banks get the majority of it. The second thing I said, I would phase out the asset tax over a 5-year period. Now, if you phase something out over a 5-year period, it means that each year you're taking 1/5 of that take each year. So the minister presented $8 billion yesterday that we would be giving back. In fact, the opposition leader stood on a point of order. We never said that. We said over 5 years, and we were deliberate. We knew that we could not absorb the entire amount of the asset tax in 1 year.
Now, to be honest with you, ladies and gentlemen, I was listening to the budget and I heard when she said it, and I even remember when the man said they're gonna phase it out in 5 years. So I was like, wait a minute, Fayval lying. Then I saw Mark Golding get up and say point out. I said, thank God. Thank God. And then when Mark Golding, well, I think the first point of order that he made, you saw the JLP. They were acting like a bunch of animals. They were acting illiterate and dunce as a collective group that is supposed to be governing the country. It was so embarrassing. Even the Speaker of the House, she probably wanted to join in with them, but then she remembered that they were on national television. It was so disgraceful, ladies and gentlemen. I'm telling, and she was just blatantly lying in the region. I try to find it back. I find back the clip.
1/5 of that take each year. So the minister presented $8 billion yesterday that we would be giving back. In fact, the opposition leader stood on a point of order. We never said that. We said over 5 years, and we were deliberate. We knew that we could not absorb the entire amount of the asset tax in 1 year. And what we have said, by phasing it out, it will make banks more competitive, and it will reduce the cost of banking services and fees to the customer. The government has done nothing about this in 9 years. It has done nothing about this. And we believe this is important for competitiveness in the banking and financial services industry, and also for individuals who go to ATMs, use their bank cards, and have to deal with the level of fees that they absorb. So this figure of 8 billion is a mystery to me. I can say it is only consistent with the pro-box moment, where she believes that saving $2,000 a month for 3 years can make a deposit. It is fantasy, and it's actually ludicrous that a minister of finance could stand up in parliament and make such false and deliberately inaccurate and misleading statement. She has said nothing about what the government plans to do to make the banking sector more competitive. In fact, when Fitz-Jackson brought the bill, we knew which side they stood on. They voted it down. We are committed to bringing back that bill and passing it, because you cannot have a sector in the country where, when every other sector is not doing well, only one sector is, which is banking and financial services. We have to make it more competitive and consistent with the other sectors and aligned with the other sectors.
Right.
That's a sound argument.
Okay.
Let's go to energy
Thank
now.
you, Julian. We move now to energy. The government has, very late in the day, finally acceded to something that we have been calling for a long time, which is to put some funding behind allowing families that currently are not lawful customers of the grid, of JPS, but want to become lawful so that they can have proof of address, so they're no longer at risk of being prosecuted, so that the fire risks inherent in having houses not properly wired, all of that can be dealt with. They've allocated $1 billion in the budget for that. We have said we think that's insufficient because that can only reach 20,000 households, and our estimation is that there are actually around 300,000 households that are not currently customers of JPS. We would start by adding another $1 billion to that exercise, and as fiscal space opens up, we will also look to ramp that up further. Next slide, please. So, if you add up all of the measures that we have proposed, which are charges on the budget, with all the slides we went through, the total for that is $22.6 billion. And if you round that up for conservative purposes, that's $23 billion. It's the aggregate cost of the budget of the measures that we have outlined. And that is out of a budget currently of $1.27 trillion. And therefore, a percentage of only 1.8% of the total budget to do with all these things that we think are important to help Jamaican people move forward, to help our children get a better education, to allow farmers to progress, to allow businesses to be formed and to get going, to help to drive the economy, better energy policy, etc., etc. But there are some other things in our proposals which are important and that we will speak to. As I've said, there's $360 billion of discretionary expenditure in the coming year's budget. The percentage reallocation of discretionary expenditure to fund the proposals that we have put forward is just 6.4%. And as I've said, even if you look at their projections, there's $36 billion of funding in expenditure if you gross up this coming year's expenditure other than the interest for inflation, applying the 5% projection, what you get is they're projecting additional expenditure over that of $36 billion, and we're talking about $23 billion plus the NHT, $34 billion. So there we go. And of course, the $11.4 billion is already in the budget for the current year and wouldn't have to be funded for the current year, the removal of it. But thereafter, it will have to be funded. Next slide.
Before we go to the next slide, ladies and gentlemen, let me just indulge the evidence. Of course. Let me just indulge the evidence, all right? Oh, no, I'll have to go to his history. Because I just pulled it up. Ooh. I just have it right here. Oh, I know why problem. Switch to this account. All of VNR clips. Here we go. Timestamp 128. Boom. Let's examine this, ladies and gentlemen. This is the moment that Fayval Williams lied to the people of Jamaica. Listen to this. One of the lies, one of the big lies.
The spokesman on finance said that they would pay back the asset tax that is levied on the financial sector in 5 payments. So first, Madam Speaker, the spokesman on finance would have to stop taking the asset tax before he can start paying back for what was taken. Otherwise, he would never finish paying back.
Hear the dunce them a laugh. One bag of dunce. Hear the dunce them.
Embarrassing.
Hear the dunce.
He needs some milk.
Julian is not objecting.
And members.
A point of order. The member for South East St. Andrew said nothing about giving back asset tax. He talked about phasing out the tax over 5 years, not giving back the revenue already collected in 1 year. The minister is again misleading the House, and she must stop doing it. On securitization, I never said that securitization is in itself wrong. I said the use of the proceeds to fund the recurrent budget, using future revenue to meet today's expenses is what is wrong. And she's again misrepresenting the position.
So, Leader of the Opposition, members, please, Leader of the Opposition, I hope you will appreciate that this is not a cross debate. And Members, I am ruling, and the ruling stands. So, opposition leader, you have been allowed the leeway to rise on a point of order twice to offer some clarification to what was said. Members.
I'm not even going to further. I'm not even going to further with them. Let's continue.
Next slide, please. Okay, so current year, the removal of it, but thereafter it will have to be funded. Next slide. Next slide, please. Okay, so as I've said earlier, we will deal with the NHT revenue that we'll be giving up by giving up the 11.4 billion out of the incremental growth of revenues that is projected in the fiscal policy paper itself, $240 billion of additional revenue with no new tax measures over the next 4 years. Thank you. Next slide. We have some other proposals that we want to speak to. So as Julian, in his presentation, said that we want to have a special deal for our senior citizens when it comes to their water rate. We want to provide them with a flat rate. How do we do that? Simply put, we will look at their past consumption, we will average the last 3 years, and as long as it appears normal and that there were no leaks and so on, we will work out what their average consumption has been. We'll apply the normal rate to that and then give them a discount, and that will be their flat rate. And we will monitor that as we go along to make sure it achieves our policy objective. Next item is the matching grant to businesses for training. That will be funded out of the HART NSTA, which is a strong body that gets on every month, it gets flows coming in from employers contributing to it, so it has solid resources and it can afford to do this matching program out of its resources without being a charge on the budget. The employment tax credit. This is an important thing because this is an incentive for employers to bring persons who are on contract work, informal forms of employment, which is an abusive measure as used by some employers, not all. We want to encourage them to bring those workers into formal employment so the workers get their full range of benefits that were hard won in the past, and many of those benefits were created for them by the People's National Party, and we want them to enjoy those benefits. So the employment tax credit, we're proposing to move that from 30%, which is where it was when we introduced it back in the last PNP government, to 40%. We anticipate that to be a revenue positive measure, not a cost to the budget. Next slide, please, and I'll explain why. First of all, it will boost tax compliance by companies, which has been the experience so far with the ETC, the employment tax credit. And by formalizing employment, it will also bring more employee-related revenue to the government. When the ETC was introduced 10 years ago, a significant growth in corporate taxes were experienced as a result of that tax incentive. It's one of the things that from time to time one has to point out, that actually a properly designed tax incentive can in fact increase revenue by changing behavior in ways that generate more revenue. And we anticipate that that will be the case with this ETC measure. And we want to give the employers this incentive because we want to regularize employment across Jamaica. So we don't have so many workers in Jamaica not getting the benefits that are intended for them, leave with pay, etc., etc. And the other one, of course, is the deposit fund for young people up to 35 years old who want to buy a house but can't afford a deposit. The $1 billion that's allocated for that, so they can get grants towards their deposits of up to $500,000. And that will be funded out of the NHT itself. That will not be a charge on the budget. And of course, by discontinuing the extraction of resources from the NHT of 11.4 billion a year, the NHT will have significantly additional resources to do all the various things that we have in mind for the NHT, many of which I pointed out in my budget presentation. That's it, I think.
I want to say something about the DBJ.
Yes, and then I have some closing remarks.
The minister announced yesterday that the DBJ would review and reform the way it provides loans to the MSME sector. Now, we made a commitment that we would back end all of the fees that MSMEs have been required to pay upfront. For example, if you're taking out a $10 million loan, MSMEs were required to pay $500,000 upfront. That was an inhibitor to persons accessing financing. Now, 9 years into the tenure of this government, just a simple adjustment. And what does that say? Have they been listening to the business sector for 9 years? The MSME sector has been calling for this adjustment. It costs the government nothing. You know how many times we sit at standing finance and we see monies that have been sent to the DBJ coming back unused because people can't access it because of the onerous conditions. So belatedly, after pressure from our commitment and from the sector, 9 years later, this government has decided to make this adjustment. Is 9 years too late?
Embarrassing. We need some milk.
For them, leave with pay, etc., etc. And the other one, of course, is the deposit fund for young people up to 35 years old who want to buy a house but can't afford a deposit. The $1 billion that's allocated for that, so they can get grants towards their deposits of up to $500,000. And that will be funded out of the NHT itself. That will not be a charge on the budget. And of course, by discontinuing the extraction of resources from the NHT of 11.4 billion a year, the NHT will have significantly additional resources to do all the various things that we have in mind for the NHT, many of which I pointed out in my budget presentation. That's it, I think.
I want to say something on DBJ.
Yes, and then I have some closing remarks.
The minister announced yesterday that the DBJ would review and reform the way it provides loans.
More put this part here so by itself. Yeah. I want to put this part by itself, man. Come talk to them, Julian.
DBJ.
Yes.
Talk to them, my brother.
Closing remarks.
The minister announced yesterday that the DBJ would review and reform the way it provides loans to the MSME sector. Now, we made a commitment that we would back end all of the fees that MSMEs have been required to pay upfront. For example, if you're taking out a $10 million loan, MSMEs were required to pay $500,000 upfront. That was an inhibitor to persons accessing financing. Now, 9 years into the tenure of this government, just a simple adjustment. And what does that say? Have they been listening to the business sector for 9 years? The MSME sector has been calling for this adjustment. It costs the government nothing. You know how many times we sit at standing finance and we see monies that have been sent to the DBJ coming back unused because people can't access it because of the onerous conditions. So belatedly, after pressure from our commitment and from the sector, 9 years later, this government has decided to make this adjustment. Is 9 years too late? Can you imagine how many businesses could have accessed funding to grow, to pay more taxes, to build more products and services and make the economy improve? And you wait 9 years to do this? Them not ready. Them just not ready. Pay more taxes, to build more products and services and make the economy improve? And you wait 9 years to do this? Them not ready. Them just not ready.
Yes.
Emotional damage.
And you wait 9 years to do this? Them not ready. Them just not ready.
Yes. Thank you, Julian. Well said. So, 23 billion of tax measures and the elimination of the extraction of resources from the NHT to fund the budget, totaling 23 billion plus 11.4, 34 billion. Incidentally, if that could ruin the economy, let's look at the 1.5 that they introduced in 2016, which cost $32 billion and which they've held up as a great achievement. They didn't misrepresent it when they presented it to the country in that election because they said it wouldn't cost anything. It ended up costing 32 billion, which they had to impose taxes to pay for. Let's on the budget, totaling 23 billion plus 11.4, 34 billion. Incidentally, if that could ruin the economy, let's look at the 1.5 that they introduced in 2016, which cost $32 billion and which they've held up as a great achievement. They did misrepresent it when they presented it to the country in that election because they said it wouldn't cost anything. It ended up costing 32 billion, which they had to impose taxes to pay for that 1.5. So when you look at our measures, it's comparable in amount. It will not have any ruinous effect. To the contrary, it's going to push the country towards growth. It's going to push the country towards social cohesion, a better Jamaica, and it will pay for itself. We're being very conservative in looking at this because we haven't assumed any growth in excess of what's projected. The 1%, the measly 1% per annum growth that they are projecting for the next 4 years in their fiscal policy paper. So the message is simple. The government that we have is one of gimmicks. It's one of misrepresentations. It's one of alarmists. Instead of taking the time to focus on what they could do for the people and how to make the budget work for the people, they again wanted to score headlines at the expense of the people. The PNP is about balancing budgets, yes, and balancing lives too. Unlike the current administration, we delivered plans with people at the center, not gimmicks, and we haven't regurgitated empty promises of the past. They are a government that has made promises which they haven't kept. No fixed term elections, no grand referendum on issues to do with all sorts of issues that they had promised, etc., etc. Our priorities are the people's priorities. A solid education, decent health care, a nutritious meal for our children, and an affordable way for them to get to school. A piece of the rock to own and make your castle. A good paying job where you're treated with dignity and a livable wage to ensure that families can get by. That's who our presentation in the budget was created for, while the government's was a sideshow to create division and spread misinformation. We will continue to put the people first and champion the change that Jamaica is crying out for. Time come. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Thanks, gentlemen.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're not done yet, but this spicy part are coming in the last part, so I'm not telling a lie. Dr. Nathan Campbell have to fix them business. When you say Saturday, no, but look at it. Look at what the future Prime Minister just said, right? The JLP presented a 1.5 billion, and they said it wouldn't cost anything in the last budget, but yet it turned out costing us 32 point something billion dollars. All the promises that the Prime Minister made in his 100-day promise that he didn't fulfill, they have regurgitated things as well. Right Mango did expose the 2018 traffic act, right? I mean, they are truly a gimmicks government. The future Prime Minister Mark Bowden never said anything that was a lie. How you doing, Joanne? Never said anything that was a lie. He was absolutely on point. Julian really burned the fire on the government, because they were to implement something that the sector was asking for a long time. And I'm going to play that back, because that is very important. That right there is very important, ladies and gentlemen. What Julian said right here is very important. Let's listen to that again. Alright, let me see if we can zoom into them, so you can see Julian when they talk. Hold on. Oh, we can't zoom in no more? Okay, it's fine.
I want to say something about DBJ.
Yes.
Yeah, we can't zoom in no more.
The minister announced yesterday that the DBJ would review and reform the way it provides loans to the MSME sector. Now, we made a commitment that we would back end all of the fees that MSMEs have been required to pay upfront. For example, if you were taking out a $10 million loan, MSMEs were required to pay $500,000 upfront. That was an inhibitor to persons accessing financing.
So, the $500 up front stopped those people that wanted to do their business, to boost their business from getting the loans. So what Julian is saying is that the money that was allocated for such loans, they were being returned because nobody could access them. And he's saying all the government had to do was change a simple policy to allow the people of Jamaica in that area of business to access those loans. And they never did it after 9 years. And ladies and gentlemen, you are going to allow the government of Jamaica to trick you into an election year by changing it now? Let's see what Julian has to say.
Now, 9 years into the tenure of this government, just a simple adjustment. And what does that say? Have they been listening to the business sector for 9 years? The MSME sector has been calling for this adjustment. It cost the government nothing. Listening to the business sector for 9 years. The MSME sector has been calling for this adjustment. It cost the government nothing. You know how many times we sit at Standing Finance and we see monies that have been sent to the DBJ coming back unused because people can't access it because of the onerous conditions. So belatedly, after pressure from our commitment and from the sector, 9 years later, this government has decided to make this adjustment. Is 9 years too late? Can you imagine how many businesses could have accessed funding to grow, to pay more taxes, to build more products and services and make the economy improve? And you wait 9 years to do this? Them not ready. Them just not ready.
People, I want you to think about that. Think about all the businesses in a 9-year period that could have elevated our economy, elevated their lifestyle, elevated their family's lifestyle, the children. How much people you think that could have affected? Possibly more employment in a good area, a good field to make some more money. A lot of opportunities was missed because the government failed to listen to the sector that he's speaking about. That is what is important, This government does not listen. All right? They don't listen. Constitutional reform, they don't listen. The needs, they don't listen. Right? They just feel like they should do what they want to do. It's a gangster type of vibe with them, yeah? Badness, yeah? No cooperation, no dialogue, yeah? But you see Mario Rubio coming to our place today, and some people have to humble themselves. No. Let's continue. Yeah, man. Me just want to.
Thank you. Thank you, Julian.
Leave it right this and then go to the next part, yeah, man. I tell you, I want to make sure you hit the like button. See? Big up Janet. How you doing, Janet? Sassy in the building, you know what I'm saying? Born again. Big up on yourself that is still here. Big up the people that I passed through earlier, you know what I mean? The word is love, see me, don't? Yeah, the word is love. Hold on there. Right.
Champion the change that Jamaica is.
I'll go first. Right.
All right.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Here we go. Here comes the
gentlemen.
Bangarang now.
Members of the media,
Questions
if you
and
do
answers.
have a question or questions, please indicate, identify yourself, your media house, and go ahead with the question.
Yeah, I'll go first. Right. Yeah, man, good afternoon. Yeah, man, it's Dwayne Anderson. DJ.
Yes.
You didn't. I have one question should I go ahead and ask both questions? I have two. Should I go ahead and ask both or just ask one?
The same individual?
No, one for Damien and one for...
One at a time then.
All right, so let's start Mr. Golding. Good afternoon again, Mr. Golding. I've noted that you or the party hasn't said a thing about the income tax threshold. I remember about 2 years ago or about 18 months ago, you mentioned that your party would be interested in increasing the threshold, the income tax threshold, to about $3 million. I haven't heard a lot about that. What happened to that policy plan?
Well, it's under review. At this time, there have been some increases in the threshold, and we've seen the costings of it. Some of these things, when you don't have access to all of the information that the government has with the Ministry of Finance and literally a few thousand technocrats supporting their work. We don't have access to that. So we're anticipating further increases over time. But that's not part of the presentation that we made because it's already underway and we are comfortable with that, but we'll keep it under review.
All right, thank you. Damian, you've often spoken about the benefits of a more educated population to the fight against crime and increase in quality of life for Jamaicans. Just listening to your numbers you outlined just now, about 6,000 people would benefit from this degree per household program. Is that significant enough over 3-4 years to, achieve the transformation you're looking for?
Okay, well, first of all, that 6,000 persons would be in years 1, 2, 3, and 4 at the university, not over 4 years of the budget. So that 6,000 will be benefiting in year 1. There'll be some who will graduate and then others that will come in. Now, what are the benefits of a degree? The first reality is that many...
I am so happy that the brother asked that question because I was a bit confused, I was a bit confused about that. So the 6,000 is the total amount of children or kids that would be getting the benefit to the 1 degree per household in school. So, degrees, some of them is 2 years, some of them is 3 years, some of them is 4 years. So I get it now. They all of them will benefit. It will cost $3.9 billion. And that is it. The 11, how much billion should he say? 31 billion? Fayval, you have to come down, Fayval. No, sir. No, sir. Hey, you can't mislead the people, them, so Fayval. $31 billion, Fayval. That them what's the half, Fayval. That them what's the half, but
Any of the maladies of our society doesn't exist in households with degrees. Households with degrees are less likely to have persons with illiteracy within them. Households with degrees are less likely to have persons with malnutrition within them. Houses with degree are less likely to have persons participating in criminal activity, especially murder within them. Houses with degrees are less likely to have insufficient housing and inaccess to health care because of cost. And so therefore, if within our first 5 years, we can get graduating almost, that will be 10, 12,000 graduates, and in line, another 15,000 persons coming forward, it would have been a massive achievement in our first 5 years. Now, if you should understand that a country is a going concern, my life is not the limit of our country, then it means that within 20 years, what change would that have made? And had we started this in 2000, then we would have already achieved it. So is it sufficient to immediately transform the society? No. It is sufficient to immediately transform 6,000 households, which will have about 4 persons per household. And therefore, we believe that this is a necessary thing that no government with the interests of the people could criticize. And that is something we are going to immediately implement as soon as we get power.
It's funny to me how the media really is going at this idea of Damian Crawford when we have a problem with crime. The statistics that he has outlined where having a decreased concern, these are facts. There's no going around the facts, Bridget. So why would they not support this? This is the kind of thing where wherever you should find the money, you find it. Now, Fayval wanted us to believe that it was 31.9 billion and it's just something that cannot be done. And then she was now embarrassed today by the Rastaman and the PMP. That is only $3.9 billion. Mighty God. No, say the people are worse, yeah, man.
Help. We need
your divine intervention.
No, sir.
We're tired of the labor.
Tired of them, man. Tired.
We're tired of the green people.
These guys are dream killers.
We can't take it no more. We need it. We need it. We need it. Help. Help. Jesus Christ of Nazareth. Psalm 46. God is our refuge and strength, is a liberator.
These guys are dream killers, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dwayne. Siobhan Campbell, Nationwide News.
Here comes the madness now. Here comes the bangarang. Look for Marky G face or Marky G a smile. And look for Julian Robertson. face of curiosity. And what is someone you come with now? People, I'm telling you, this is where the foolishness start.
Two questions to, I believe it was Damien who brought up the matter of the school feeding program, so I suppose I'll be putting that to you. Has the costing for that, I noticed you...
Look for Mark Golden face. Look for all of them face. You know when you see the enemy in front of you, you see the enemy that is trying to tear down the People's National Party and Jamaica, because tearing down the People's National Party is really tearing down Jamaica. The man is trying to rescue Jamaica from the JLP, and these guys that allegedly have a whole entity that's allegedly owing taxes to the government, but getting all of the government contract them. Listen to the question. Listen to the question.
You used the unit cost for food. You said $480 to feed an individual. Does that factor in the logistics and administrative costs as well? And further, why not simply just expand the PATH program school feeding rather than create an entirely new initiative to save the potential administrative and other costs attached?
All right. We haven't seen how this our new system. However, current $180 per meal considered all costs including transportation. I don't believe each school is growing in flour or rice. So by extension, it would consider all of those costs. So what we have done first of all is to increase the number of persons that benefit exponentially. I think a reasonable question is, why is the Ministry of Education currently not feeding the 400,000 that the Minister of Finance suggests are in need? The second reality is that we have exponentially increased the number of
Usher him out. Hey, somebody take that nationwide person microphone.
Take his
microphone.
Just
no.
a minute. Just a minute.
Embarrassing.
Take his microphone.
Embarrassing.
Usher him out.
Oh, well, how you doing, Donna?
Usher him out.
Born again, oh Lord. Big up.
Usher him out.
No, listen to this again.
Why is the Ministry of Education currently not feeding the 400,000 that the Minister of Finance suggests are in need?
So there's 400,000 kids that are in need. So Damien Crawford is asking, saying the better question is, why isn't the government feeding the 400,000 that are in need? Instead of you asking me, where are we going to find the money from to feed this amount and the cost? And the man is saying, yo, we are prepared and have budgeted and stayed within the fiscal discipline and prudency, stringent rules that are there, and we will still find the money is allocated to feed all those children. Man, listen, bro, embarrassing. Man, play that again, man.
Since the benefit exponentially. I think a reasonable question is, why is the Ministry of Education currently not feeding the 400,000 that the Minister of Finance suggests are in need? The second reality is that we have exponentially increased the number of children that are going to benefit. And we will create all the necessary steps and programs that will make it be the most efficient and the least thievery. We know, as a matter of reminder,
Oh, shots fired. The most efficient and the least thievery. Play that back. Play that back. This is why I'm here, ladies and gentlemen.
Going to benefit. And we will create all the necessary steps and programs that will make it be the most efficient and the least thievery. We know, as a matter.
Damn.
Embarrassing. He needs some milk.
Damn. Oh my God. Hey, y'all caught that?
That is funny.
Oh
honey.
my God. It's not funny, but I'm just saying.
Funny.
The least thievery.
Funny.
Yo, the least thievery. Remember the amount of millions of dollars that cannot be accounted for in the education system over the last 9 years? And the Minister of Finance that was a part of that same ministry, now the Minister of Finance moved from education, has the audacity to come and question how these guys are gonna are going to use those money. You see all the monies that we can't find, those same monies that is going to be allocated. You know, let me tell you what is going to happen, ladies and gentlemen. This is what I think is going to happen. The PMP is going to exceed their expectations. As soon as they're settled and they start to run the country like a well-oiled machine and actually use the funds for what they were intended to do and not any extracurricular activities allegedly like the JLP possibly have done, you're going to see the PMP exceed expectations, ladies and gentlemen. As a matter of fact, you see, when the audits are done, the audits are going to reveal a lot of skullduggery. A lot. You remember the KSMC Mayor Swaby? You remember what he came out and said about the previous mayor, Delroy Williams, or whatever I want him? Right? You remember what he came out and said? With the little that Mr. McKenzie, as the 1 year that he has been there, how much things he has done? Give him 5 years and see what. We're not going to recognize Kingston. May I tell you? Give that man 5 years. You are not going to recognize Kingston, ladies and gentlemen. And that is one of the municipalities. There's another municipality we have here, PMP there. And they are the only ones that have 100% followed well, one of the only one of the few, not the only one of the few municipalities that has given the Auditor General every single receipt for all the monies that was allocated, what they used it for. That is what they call fiscal discipline. That is what they call fiscal prudence. That is what they call good governance and transparency. Let's continue.
Of reminder to the nation that the government of Jamaica had many who participated in the robbery of nutritional products, which is the school feeding program for our children. So what we have seen, first of all, is discrimination, where PATH program children are being put in a different line, having a different food and feeling as if they are inadequate as people. We'll end that with immediate effect by having a nutritious meal of the same type to all our children that are going to be available. So is it going?
Oh God. So, dear man, you're telling me that in the PATH program, they might get a different type of food from the regular youth them to their school? Who came up with who? What? Why did they do that? Were they ever kids? It's like people forget what they went through when they were small, and it's like we forget when we were children. Yo, as a youth, alright, let me tell you something, and this is like on a household level. Say for instance you're dating a woman. Can you guys hear me? Put a one in the chat if you can hear me. Say for instance you're dating a woman, ladies and gentlemen, right? That has children. And you go have a child with her. Let me tell you something. You see, if you don't treat that child and her children in the same manner, if you buy one sweetie, make sure you have 3 of them. Else don't buy none. You hear me I tell you? If you buy one sweetie, make sure you buy 3. You understand what I'm saying? Do not treat none of those kids different from the other. So if you buy this one KFC, and the next one want McDonald's, and the next one want Burger King, make sure you buy them what them need and what them want. It's just an example. I'm not telling you guys to feed your kids junk food, but you guys get it, right? So you can imagine in the PATH program where they are going to do this to the children. But you know, the people they must feel away. Hey, big up yourself in the Damien Crawford and the PMP. Trust me, big up yourself.
It will be an expansion of the current strategy. We'd have to review all the systems that they have in place. We may have a different strategy. What we know is that it will be better, it will be further, and it will be more inefficient.
It will be efficient and much better. And yours, the JLP one, is not efficient. It's not efficient, and it's very bad. That is what he's saying. The PMP is going to find a way and make it better. Yes? Good.
and much more nutritious. I can guarantee that as well.
Oh, you mean?
100% more efficient.
100%.
More efficient, more effective, more nutritious, more children, and more value.
You're deaf.
You very much.
You're deaf nationwide. You're deaf. You're not here. Say it again, Damian.
100% more efficient.
More inefficient.
More efficient, more effective, more nutritious, more children, and more value.
So there will be more children that will be getting the benefit, right? They will get more nutrition, more nutritious meals. So it's going to be way more effective. You understand? Good.
Thank you very much.
Good.
And then to you, Mr. Golding,
hear the junker laugh. Hear the junker. No. Hear the man a laugh. Hear him a laugh. Hey, me tell you, so then give it to them in this meeting here. Let's continue.
People were now wondering, why was this costing not added into your budget presentation as part of that budget exercise? Because as understood, it is a budget debate presentation. So why is this costing now coming to the people rather than during the actual budget debates?
Late but to reach.
The presentation.
Damian say late but to reach. Watch Damian face. What's this?
That is funny, honey.
No, hold up. Wait.
Funny.
Hey.
Oh my God, that's funny.
Hey, let me say. Hey, Damian say late but to reach. Did you catch that? Or listen to Damian?
Is this costing now coming to the people rather than during the actual budget debates?
Late but to reach.
Hear that? It's late but to reach.
The presentation I made was quite comprehensive. It covered a lot of different things. There were other areas that I would want to touch on, which I didn't want to make it too long. The Prime Minister spoke for nearly 5 hours, I think. I didn't think that was appropriate. So, we didn't put in costings because we didn't feel that was necessary in the presentation itself. We weren't producing a budget. This is what I think is very important. The minister said it was an implied budget we were presenting. That's not the case. We are presenting our policy priorities for our first term in office. We know we have costed them, as we've explained today, how they break down. 23 billion is our estimate for all of the things that we have put forward as a charge to the budget. Some of the other things will be paid for by the public bodies which relate to those things. And then there's the NHT, which we're going to stop the extraction of resources from. The government has not said the cost of the capital allowances, which was one of the revenue measures that the minister announced in her budget presentation. She has said that land and buildings and equipment for companies, they're going to get an accelerated capital allowance. There was no costing attached to that in her numbers. That is very irresponsible. We don't know what that's.
You see what Mark Golding just did there? Mark Golding just pointed out something in the JLP budget that they did not give a cost to. But Nationwide never questioned them on that. But he wants to question, and it's something of significance. Even more important, because they are the ones in government presently and looking for a third term. Right? Nationwide is acting like the PMP is the one that is in government. They are not the one that is in government. Right? The JLP is in government. They are the one ruling. And I have not seen the same energy from Nationwide and other media houses, right, towards the JLP where their budget is concerned. It's as if everything, there's no discrepancies and there's nothing. Right? Let's continue.
It's going to cost. Nobody has said a word about it. I'd love Nationwide to raise that.
Yes.
Issue an article.
Yes.
And you can use what I just said in it.
Yes. Yes. Talk to them. Hey, talk to them, Marky G. Play that back. Talk to them, Marky G. That is it, man. Fire shut off for them blows.
Very responsible. We don't know what that's going to cost.
Let me go back all the way so you can hear the full context.
3 billion is our estimate for all of the things that we have put forward as a charge to the budget. Some of the other things will be paid for by the public bodies which relate to those things. And then there's the NHT, which we're going to stop the extraction of resources from. The government has not said the cost of the capital allowances, which was one of the revenue measures that the minister announced in her budget presentation. She has said that land and buildings and equipment for companies, they're going to get an accelerated capital allowance. There was no costing attached to that in her numbers. That is very irresponsible. We don't know what that's going to cost. Nobody has said a word about it. I'd love Nationwide to raise that. Issue an article, and you can use what I just said in it, so that your many clientele who would listen to you would be happy to hear that, I'm sure. Not so many, but no.
Emotional damage.
Marky G fire shot off a Nationwide. We can look at the red Crawford. Not so many. Why? People with the ball out! With the ball out! Ball out! Oh my God!
Whoa! We need help, Jesus! Jamaica need help!
Yo! Look how Mark going in the face!
We don't know what that's going to cost.
Nobody
has said a word about it. I'd love Nationwide to raise that. Issue an article, and you can use what I just said in it, so that your many clientele who would listen to you would be happy to hear that, I'm sure.
Yes.
Not so many, but no doubt loyal to you. So
Not so many, but loyal to you.
People are so happy. Hey, if you don't love the Blows and Skirt program, you don't like up the live and share up the live. Me not even want to know about the donation link. You don't like up the live and share the live. Yo! Remember that.
So yes, that's the answer. We've decided to present it separately as part of in this press conference, only because of the malign and inaccurate comments made by the minister yesterday in her closing of the presentation. We are in opposition, and we put forward ideas and proposals, and we cast them with the benefit of the information available to us, which of course is significantly more limited than what's available to a government. But because of the transparency of the fiscal rules and the fiscal responsibility framework which we put in place, we at least have revenue estimates, which we never used to have, a fiscal policy paper with projections, which the minister has to sign off on. So she can't tell me that she never meant what she said in here. She signed it. So that is what we have been using.
Oh! Okay. So ladies and gentlemen, this is significant. Now I understand when they're talking about the fiscal prudence and fiscal discipline. So there are certain things in previous years of governance that the opposition was not privy to in terms of information, whether it was a JLP or PMP. What Mark Golding and the PMP did was create a framework to make sure that that information, at least not all of it, but a significant portion of it, a very important part of it, or the most important parts of it, were accessible to the opposition. Mighty God. Can we get a round of applause for Mark Golding and the PMP, ladies and gentlemen? Come on, man. That's great. That is what we call wisdom right there, ladies and gentlemen. That is wisdom right there. That is wisdom right there. Let's continue.
In order to deliver the costing of our proposals.
Liver.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, Siobhan asked one of my questions, so I'll only ask one. You said yesterday in Parliament that what you presented, the proposals that you presented, are programs that are going to be implemented over the life of the People's National Party government.
Yeah.
Can you tell the people of Jamaica what programs you intend to implement in year 1, year 2 going forward? Just kind of give us an idea of what are you going to prioritize year 1 and
yes, so based on the budget as presented by the government, which is going to be the budget that we inherit when we form government, that budget is already going to be in effect because it will be passed on Friday in the Senate, and the next fiscal year starts next week, Tuesday. So it will be the budget that we have to work within initially. But when we enter and we are rolling out our programs, we will, based on the numbers that we have seen, we anticipate being able to implement all of them initially. If, for example, there is a hurricane or something has happened that has thrown out the projections, we will have to make adjustments accordingly. But based on what's in the fiscal policy paper, we anticipate being able to do it. If we recognize at that time that we can't do all 23 plus the 11.4 in the first year of our tenure, then the things that we would be prioritizing are the things that we feel would have the biggest impact on economic growth. Reason being because economic growth is going to generate more fiscal space to pay for everything else. So things like helping the farmers, that would be critical. Things like the First in Family program, that would be important too, because we want more students to be encouraged. Our Student Loan Bureau changes, for example, the MSME policy. By the way, the MSME policy is not a fiscal cost, because these are businesses that don't currently exist. They're not paying any tax now. By giving them an exemption for 3 years, we're not taking any, it's not going to be losing any current revenue. I think that's been overlooked by people. Not to mention the pro-box moment and the madness of saying it's $11 billion a year.
Okay.
What is important that Mark Golden just said a while ago, ladies and gentlemen, is that they will be inheriting the budget that the JLP has passed. So we need to keep that in mind. So really, when the PMP is going to be at full throttle in terms of their plans, is the next fiscal budget that they will be putting forward when they win the election. So I want us to pause, reflect on that and pay attention. However, what he said was encouraging, that with what they've seen from the budget that they put forward, he's saying that, you know, they still see where they can focus on the farmers, focus on the SMEs, and he also mentioned on the last part there, which I think is very important, is that those businesses have not started yet. When they start, those businesses will be allocating more taxes, and that's going to create more fiscal space, so they will have more revenue to expand the economy and grow it even more. Understand? So investing in the people of Jamaica is the best investment that you can actually do, which is the farmers, the businesses, the students in terms of education, because they know with proper education will come forward, right, and give us more productivity from you know what they learned. You get what I'm saying? And with the teachers, what they have planned for the teachers is superb, because we don't want to have any more brain drain in it. We want to have our best minds here and encouraging them to stay here. You understand? And giving them incentive to stay here. Listen, this is all around amazing. I'm just telling y'all right now, but let's continue. Let's hear some more.
So to Mr. Golding, just to follow up on that question asked, then you pointed out that obviously your priorities will not be the same as the government currently in power, and certainly there's things that you don't have access to in terms of information, but clearly you should, as you see in opposition, see areas where the government has put their priorities that you feel can be deprioritized to implement your programs. What would be those areas?
I don't want to comment on that now, because we have to look at every line item when we come into office carefully. And there are some things that we may defer. There's some things that we may accelerate. There's some things that we may discontinue. And I don't want to attempt to foreshadow that yet, but I'm confident that we can find the 6.4% of the 360 billion to pay for what we have come up with. And as I've said, based on the fiscal policy paper, that doesn't even seem like it's going to be necessary anyway.
So, ladies and gentlemen, what Nationwide wants this man to do is to give the JLP his full outline of ideas, which is irresponsible because they are not in government yet and they haven't looked at the full scope. Now, if the future Prime Minister was desperate to lie to the people of Jamaica and mislead them, he would literally go and tell us, yo, listen, this is what I'm going to do. Boom, 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 boom. He did not do that. I believe he answered the question perfectly. I believe that is the perfect answer for the question. That is the most honest answer he could give. Instead of glazing us, right? And having us get excited about something that when he goes into power now and looks at the books, he goes, wait a minute, but I can't do this again. And then he have to make an excuse, right? Why? And then people are going to say, oh, but you told us. No, I didn't tell you anything, right? So let's move on. Excellent answer from the opposition leader.
Panelists from me, the Prime Minister and the Finance Minister hammered home this matter of what FinSAC did in terms of the impact on the country's debt and your potential role in that debacle in the 1990s.
I want you guys to look at Mark Godin's face when he said potential role in FinSAC. Listen. This is the climax of the show. I want you to look at the man's facial expression. The audacity of Nationwide. The unmitigated God, the disrespect. Look at the man's face. Look at the man's face, Jamaica.
Embarrassing. He needs some milk.
Nationwide should be embarrassed. Look at the man's face. His facial expression tells you everything. Unbelievable. Listen to this.
Matter of what FinSAC did in terms of the impact on the country's debt. And your...
Yo, look on Julian. Yo, man, I got so much more respect for Julian, bro. I kind of held against Julian because he was cool with some of the JLP people. I kind of held against Mr. Philip Bunting. What's his name? Bunting. Peter Bunting. I kind of held against him that he was kind of cool with Andrew. You know what I mean? And have like a respectful discord with him. Listen, I really don't, I don't mix and mingle. You know what I'm saying? But I'm telling you, listen, man. Julian is the boss. Look at Julian's face. I want you to pay attention to Julian's face when the question was asked.
Spokes and the Finance Minister hammered home this matter of what FinSAC did in terms of the impact on the country's...
Yo, I wish I could see Dr. Nathan Campbell's face. Yo, look at Julian. Julian just kiss him teeth quietly and look on Damien and look on Dr. Damien Nathan Campbell. And look at Damien Crawford. The man is what's that? Huh? What? FinSAC? What? Look at this. Look at this.
Debt and your potential role in...
And then Damien look for Damien Crawford look for Julian like, yo, are you hearing this?
That debacle in the night.
Yo, Marky G is confused.
1990s. Do you accept that narrative as put forward?
Yo, look at Nathan Campbell. Yo, man, listen, man.
That is funny.
This is the entire show right here, bro. This is the climax. Yo, unbelievable.
And do you feel that FinSAC, as it played out in the 1990s...
Oh, Julian's face is even more like, what is he talking about?
was damaging to the Jamaican economy.
What has been a real waste of expenditure is over $100 million that the government spent on a commission of inquiry, which has not delivered a report. That's a scandal. Damn. Over $100 million spent on getting the facts as to what took place, and they have not published a report. FinSAC ensured that...
Emotional damage.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have action. I don't think y'all heard what the future Prime Minister said. The man said what is a scandal is the money that was spent on FinSAC. And the report has not been released. I'm going to play that again.
1990s. Do you accept that narrative as put forward? And do you feel that FinSAC, as it played out in the 1990s, was damaging to the Jamaican economy?
What has been a real waste of expenditure is over $100 million that the government spent on a commission of inquiry, which has not delivered a report. That's a scandal. Over $100 million spent on getting the facts as to what took place, and they have not published a report. FinSAC ensured that in a crisis in the financial sector, depositors didn't lose any money. Pensioners didn't lose any money. Persons who had insurance didn't lose any money. That was the purpose of FinSAC. And yes, it cost the country quite a lot of money, and we took time to work our way out of that. We're now at 68% debt to GDP ratio. That era is long gone. I had no role in FinSAC whatsoever. I was in the private sector there. I was an attorney at law, and I was involved in business as well. So, you know, that was an environment we all had to navigate who were in the sector at that time. And we did it skillfully enough that we never had to ask FinSAC for any support. Thank you.
Yo, yo, look at Damien Crawford. Yo, he come like, no, look at Dr. Dayton Campbell. Yo, this man could smell the BS a mile away. He knew what time it was, man. Man, I'm going to play that back straight through. I'm not going to interrupt. Listen to the question and the answer. Goodness. And then you're going to see Dr. Dayton Campbell's final statements.
Okay. So to Mr. Golding, just to follow up on that question asked, then you pointed out that obviously your priorities will not be the same as the government currently in power, and certainly there's things that you don't have access to in terms of information, but clearly you should, as you see in opposition, see areas where the government has put their priorities that you feel can be deprioritized to implement your programs. What would be those areas?
I don't want to comment on that now because we have to look. We may pay
impact on the country's debt and your potential role in that debacle in the 1990s. Do you accept that narrative as put forward? And do you feel that FinSAC, as it played out in the 1990s, was damaging to the Jamaican economy?
What has been a real waste of expenditure is over $100 million that the government spent on a commission of inquiry, which has not delivered a report. That's a scandal. Over $100 million spent on getting the facts as to what took place, and they have not published a report. FinSAC ensured that in a crisis in the financial sector, depositors didn't lose any money. Pensioners didn't lose any money. Persons who had insurance didn't lose any money. That was the purpose of FinSAC. And yes, it cost the country quite a lot of money, and we took time to work our way out of that. We're now at 68% debt to GDP ratio. That era is long gone. I had no role in FinSAC whatsoever. I was in the private that. We're now at 68% debt to GDP ratio. That era is long gone. I had no role in FinSAC whatsoever. I was in the private sector there. I was an attorney at law, and I was involved in business as well. So, you know, that was an environment we all had to navigate who were in the sector at that time, and we did it skillfully enough that we never had to ask FinSAC for any support. Thank you.
Yeah, one final question.
Just before you go, I'm wondering if Nationwide would ask the Prime Minister how is it that he can explain how other people got riches, but he's unable to explain his own riches according to the Integrity Commission. Dwayne?
Yeah, one final question.
Just before you go, I'm wondering if Nationwide would ask the Prime Minister how is it that he can explain how other people got riches, but he's unable to explain his own riches according to the Integrity Commission.
Embarrassing. He needs some milk.
Ball out! Whoa! We need help, Jesus. Jamaica need help. Shift the parliament. Shift the election. Shift everything. Remove them all there. Take out the cockroach.
People, when I tell you, when we hear the restaurant, When me say hear the background, I say, wait a minute, excuse me. Me say, see it now? Hear the other claps now. Me say, I find it very interesting that the Prime Minister can explain everybody's wealth, but cannot explain his own to the Integrity Commission. I'm clipping that up. Oh yeah, I'm clipping that up. Oh yeah. I'm clipping that up, man.
That is
Yep.
funny.
I am
honey.
clipping that up, ladies and gentlemen.
That's funny.
Wow.
Oh my God, that is
That
funny.
is a accurate, precise, well needed question to be asked. Let's hear that again.
Yeah, one final question.
Dwayne, just before you go, I'm wondering if Nationwide would ask the Prime Minister how is it that he can explain how other people got riches, but he's unable to explain his own riches according to the Integrity Commission. Dwayne?
Yeah. Thanks, Dayton. One final question, Mr. Golding, and I hope you crave indulgence because it's not quite related to the budget, but it could be related to the budget depending on how we tread in relations to our diplomatic relationship with the United States. As you know, Mr. Rubio is in Jamaica. What particular area you want the Prime Minister and indeed regional leaders to discuss with Mr. Rubio today and into tomorrow?
I think that in dealing with these matters, it's good to put forward a united position as CARICOM. I think the nations of CARICOM together have significant voting power in international and regional bodies. So I'm in favor of CARICOM having a joint position rather than Jamaica or any other member of CARICOM going alone. Issues to do with immigration, issues to do with energy policy, etc., etc. And there's only one government at a time in power, and right now the Jamaica Labour Party are in power. I think they're meeting with Mr. Rubio today, the Prime Minister, and we'll see what comes out of that. But my preference on these matters is that there's a united CARICOM position so that the US knows what the region feels about these things and we can work out solutions that are win-win. We want to have win-win solutions. Jamaica has many, many people living in the United States. We're reliant on remittances from there and other countries, etc. Travel advisories can be damaging to our tourism industry. So we have to be respectful and sensible and strategic in how we approach these matters. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, I want to close by saying that after 9 years in office and only 18% of our students passing 5 subjects to include math and English, we now hear the government talking about choosing Jamaica. After 9 years in office and 55% of the population unable to feed themselves properly, they're now speaking about choosing Jamaica. After 9 years in office and 70% increase in the import bill of food items into the country, they're now speaking about choosing Jamaica. After 9 years in office and giving themselves 300% and offering impecunious returns to the minimum wage earners, they're now speaking about choosing Jamaica. Well, the people of Jamaica have decided that they're choosing change. Thank you very much.
Hey man, listen. Let me tell y'all something, man. I'm clipping the entire last part of this from Nationwide asked the question to Marky G answering it. I'm clipping up all of this. Yeah. I'm clipping up all of, as a matter of fact, you know what? Let me end the live. No, not the live. Let me end the let me stop this right here. Let me stop that. Let me start over. Let me find the part. Let me find the part where he asked the question. I'm clipping this all up. You hear me? Man, what? Right here. Right here. Oh yeah, we gotta
to mention the pro-box moment and the madness of saying it's 11.
Yeah. We gotta start right here. Let me mute my mic. Oh yeah.
$1 billion a year.
Okay. So So to Mr. Golding, just to follow up on that question asked, then you pointed out that obviously your priorities will not be the same as the government currently in power, and certainly there's things that you don't have access to in terms of information, but clearly you should, as you see in opposition, see areas where the government has put their priorities that you feel can be deprioritized to implement your programs. What would be those areas?
I don't want to comment on that now because we have to look at every line item when we come into office carefully. And there are some things that we may defer. There's some things that we may accelerate. There's some things that we may discontinue. And I don't want to attempt to foreshadow that yet, but I'm confident that we can find the 6.4% of the 360 billion to pay for what we have come up with. And as I've said, based on the fiscal policy paper, that doesn't even seem like it's going to be necessary anyway.
Finally, for me, the Prime Minister and the Finance Minister hammered home this matter of what FinSAC did in terms of the impact on the country's debt and your potential role in that debacle in the 1990s. Do you accept that narrative as put forward? And do you feel that FinSAC, as it played out in the 1990s, was damaging to the Jamaican economy?
What has been a real waste of expenditure is over $100 million that the government spent on a commission of inquiry, which has not delivered a report. That's a scandal. Over $100 million spent on getting the facts as to what took place, and they have not published a report. FinSAC ensured that in a crisis in the financial sector, depositors didn't lose any money. Pensioners didn't lose any money. Persons who had insurance didn't lose any money. That was the purpose of FinSAC. And yes, it cost the country quite a lot of money, and we took time to work our way out of that. We're now at 68% debt to GDP ratio. That era is long gone. I had no role in FinSAC whatsoever. I was in the private sector there. I was an attorney at law, and I was involved in business as well. So, you know, that was an environment we all had to navigate who were in the sector at that time. And we did it skillfully enough that we never had to ask FinSAC for any support. Thank you.
Yeah, one final question.
Dwayne, just before you go, I'm wondering if Nationwide would ask the Prime Minister how is it that he can explain how other people got riches, but he's unable to explain his own riches according to the Integrity Commission. Dwayne?
Yeah, thanks, Dayton. One final question, Mr. Golding, and I hope you crave indulgence because it's not quite related to the budget, but it could be related to the budget depending on how we tread in relations to our diplomatic relationship with the United States. As you know, Mr. Rubio is in Jamaica. What particular area you want the Prime Minister and indeed regional leaders to discuss with Mr. Rubio today and into tomorrow?
I think that in dealing with these matters, it's good to put forward a united position as CARICOM. You know, I think the nations of CARICOM together have significant voting power in international and regional bodies. So I'm in favor of CARICOM having a joint position rather than Jamaica or any other member of CARICOM going alone. Issues to do with immigration, issues to do with energy policy, etc., etc. And there's only one government at a time in power, you know, and right now the Jamaica Labour Party are in power. I think they're meeting with Mr. Rubio today, the Prime Minister, and we'll see what comes out of that. But my preference on these matters is that there's a united CARICOM position so that the US knows what the region feels about these things and we can work out solutions that are win-win. We want to have win-win solutions. Jamaica has many, many people living in the United States. We're reliant on remittances from there and other countries, etc. Travel advisories can be damaging to our tourism industry. So we have to be respectful and sensible and strategic in how we approach these matters. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, I want to close by saying that after 9 years in office and only 18% of our students passing 5 subjects to include math and English, we now hear the government talking about choosing Jamaica. After 9 years in office and 55% of the population unable to feed themselves properly, they're now speaking about choosing Jamaica. After 9 years in office and 70% increase in the import bill of food items into the country, they're now speaking about choosing Jamaica. After 9 years in office and giving themselves 300% and offering impecunious returns to the minimum wage earners, they are now speaking about choosing Jamaica. Well, the people of Jamaica have decided that they are choosing change. Thank you very much and have a good afternoon.
Man, oh man, boy, hey man, that was explosive. You know what I'm saying? That was explosive. Yo, I wish I was home. I wish I was home to catch that. I'm not even home. Cat. Man, I wish I was home to catch that, man. The lines are open, ladies and gentlemen. The lines are open. The phone lines are open. You guys can call in. Let me know what you think. Let me know what you think about Rubio. Let me know what you think about everything, man. Yo, Dr. Dayton Campbell, man. Boy, listen, let me tell you something. Dr. Dayton Campbell is the perfect is the perfect 1B to Mark Golding's 1A. Alright? That is the type of dude you need to have right beside you. Shoulder to shoulder in the battlefield. You understand what I'm saying? Dr. Dayton Campbell is the man you want right there. You get what I mean? Hey, Julian, I got respect for Julian, man. Julian, salute to Julian, man. Julian is another one, man. Man, Julian got the tight. Yo, Julian is a quiet assassin. You understand what I'm saying? Yo, Julian gave the Nationwide a look like, yo. Huh? What? What did he just say? What? Hey, Sassy, I'm gonna call you. Sassy, I'm gonna call you. God, where Lasso there? Where is Lasso? Where can Sassy first? Where can Sassy first? Oh my God. Oh Lord have mercy. Man, oh man. Boy, it's rough out here in these streets, man. It's rough. It's tough. I'm telling you, it's tough. It's tough.
Why?
Yeah, what's up? Oh, God. Hey, you got something playing in the background. You got to turn it off. Oh, my God.
I was listening to Colin.
Say that again?
I was listening to Colin.
Oh, you're double listening. Oh.
Yeah.
He's what? Cussing them out?
Yeah, man. He's sick of them.
Oh, in terms of what they're saying?
Yeah, their behavior is pathetic. Why are they lost?
It really is. They have definitely, they bring the worst out of people. Let me just say that.
No, but we're at a point, like, by now they should at least look like to them to get it.
Yeah, they I don't know what's going on.
It's mind-boggling how lost these people are.
Yeah.
Every day, it hurts my head.
Yeah, it's true. It really is true, man. Oh, man.
I can't believe they're so dumb, though. So much of them.
Like the brother that called me earlier, the man said the guy is saying that he don't see anything like that with the housing program. Nothing don't go so.
That's true, though, Bolo?
Nothing don't go so.
What I come to understand, sorry to cut you, but what I come to understand, there's a lot of them that don't watch other things other than listening to everything green. So they don't know the reality of what's really taking place.
Oh, wow.
A lot of them are lost as sin. I don't know. Like, they just lost. They're not hearing anything else. Nobody else trying to educate them. Other than when they leave, they all go back to their little nest and listen to their one another.
But guess what? That is what the Prime Minister has told them to do.
That's true.
That's exactly what he told them to do. Don't listen to anybody, run them where. Huh?
How do you get to people like that? How do you get to reprogram them?
Let me just tell you this. This is one thing I learned in the art of war. You can't save everybody. All right.
No, but they need reprogramming.
No, listen to me. Some people are just too far gone. You understand? Listen, Sassy. You think I'm gonna? If I was to take on the labor rights, I would die in 2 years. If I was to try to and I would die from stress in 2 years. I would literally die.
Them CM dunspats are gonna come back. Who are they gonna blame? Are they gonna blame Andrew or are they gonna blame Mark?
Yeah,
when everything say labor right come in and win and then everything goes haywire and then they see the light and it's like, whoa, what did we do? Who are they gonna blame? Not the CM PNP.
Yeah.
Exactly. So somebody, I don't know what to say. I'm just lost.
Yeah, man. This is bad, bro.
I'm just.
Can you imagine?
Words. I don't know.
Do you think Fayval was that bad?
Listen, man.
She was off. She was off.
What's your name? Fayval. I'm no Fayval no more. Fayval must bitter. Better do that woman there.
Yo, she
just talks so much doo-doo.
She's gone. I got her in the witch category. I'm sorry. Like,
hey man,
he was doing this on purpose.
Andrew, just leave Juliet to just. She's in a lion's den and don't even see it.
Listen, Fayval estimate was off. Can you imagine 31? She
that's very embarrassing.
31 billion, but it was 3.9.
Yeah, that's embarrassing.
And you're
that's
a finance
embarrassing.
Minister.
And how dare her come out? What you know? Any people don't understand the PMP. Like, woman, slap her and wake her up now.
Yo, this is, man, I can't believe this, bro.
No, I can't deal with flavor. I can't deal with the labor rights. My head hurt me. Remember me that one of my sister of an Advil. My head hurt me. Listen to them and my head hurt.
Judith, that did we laugh. Judith. Judith. Oh, seriously. They must sit down on our listen, I don't think that all labor rights is done. I really don't think.
But something wrong with them. It's just something wrong with them.
Unfortunate. You see, like you want them with their nationwide. They are manipulators. They are not dunce. They manipulate facts.
Because they're getting paid, darling.
Well, I don't know about all of that. I'm saying I'm going to stick to what I've observed. I've observed.
Well, me not to be you.
No, remember, say the callers can say whatever they want to know, but the host of the show has to stay on point. I am saying, I'm not arguing with your point. You know, I'm not going against your point. I'm not doing none of that. I'm just saying that what I've observed from them is that they manipulate the facts. Even the question that he asked Mark Golding, he's gonna say that, oh, you know, there has been allegations and assertions towards you playing a role in FinSac, and they have hammered the point home. What do you have to say about this? I've never heard Nationwide ask Andrew Holness that the entire Jamaica is hammering home the assertions and exactly that you're a thief.
All them something there. What about them 28 bank account? What about you talking about the girls and bubble gum with your disrespectful self in front of the world? What about this? What about that? They don't come and hit nothing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And the thing that really, seriously, the thing that really started to really bother me is all these things that Andrew has on him, and he comes out and speak to Jamaicans and, you know,
with a certain level of bravado.
And he speak like he's so innocent and he's doing nothing.
Like he's a man of integrity.
On you, dude.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, man.
I'm so affected by that.
The man is fake, Virgin. The man is so fake he thinks he's real.
By that. because I consider myself as someone who have a little bit of head for my body. And you doing this, going on like, you know, we're dummies, and what we're saying, we should just throw it out the block, just throw it out there, and you know
the more and more I think about it, you know, Head Boy has a point. Head Boy look like he's studying Jonas, cause he's been watching his social media, you know. All the time,
hey, we listen to a lot of the platform. They mean go from one to the next one. Hey, that man, they have some information, you know. Mighty goodness, when you pick them up,
I don't know, boy. I know Head Boy from Andre's show. At first time, I just me
yesterday when he called in on Andre, did you?
And I heard about it.
Oh my gosh, that was crazy. The information never went drop.
Listen,
that was some. Andre had to cut it. Hey, Andre, I don't know.
Rough.
But Jamaica turn up bad. Me have to say, me not think may come again. So mine.
No, I wouldn't listen. I'm tell you something. I have been advised to leave Jamaica.
Yeah, I would tell you that too. I don't think
a lot of people say, "Yo."
I think a few people are saying that they're not gonna bother come down.
Yeah. Tell myself, just fly out, brother. Just cut. Just cut, bro.
There's a big family that's having a family reunion that we're supposed to go around when we reach there, and then there's about another 5 of us, and then there's my girlfriend and her fellow and a whole bunch of them cousins that keep party, some big dance thing, and I ain't going to no dance, but all of that is happening, and those are all the people we're supposed to be around, and I decide, you know what, I'm out. It's gonna be crazy, and I'm not coming. So yeah.
Hello. You know, gentle people, when you see me on the phone with somebody, it don't make no sense on a call. I'm talking to somebody. You wait till you better send me a text and say, yo, more talk. And I can say to the person, alright, somebody else want to talk, I go to the next caller. But you can't just call me. And then you keep calling me straight. When I go call me straight tomorrow. No, Sassy, relax. You're going to call me tomorrow and you're not going to get me. If you keep calling me on straight, you're not going to get me anymore. I'm going to put the chip down somewhere. See, personally, I come back again. See, personally, I come back again. And I'm literally talking and you're supposed to watch me and can't hear what me I say. But tell yourself to call me on WhatsApp. Now I'm going to take out the chip. I'm going to take the chip out. And nobody will be able to contact me straight anymore. Yeah. Because it's not a chip that I really use. It's just a lime chip. I just use the WhatsApp. That's it. You get me? Did you listen to Jeffrey Tavares last night? There's a story on it if you need to watch and carry it too. Man, listen. I can't carry everything, man. I'm swamped with work. I ain't even going to cap. You notice this morning I didn't even put out a video, and that's not me. My algorithm is all the way off right now. I should have at least 500 people in the chat, but because I'm off my normal algorithm path, it has messed up my live stream. Yeah, I'm telling you. Yeah, not getting through on WhatsApp. Just send me a text on WhatsApp, man. You have to get through to me on WhatsApp. Send me a text.
You get your call back.
Yeah, and I'll call you back. Simple. That's how you do it. You make a call on WhatsApp, and obviously I'm on the phone with somebody, so you're not going to get me. That's obvious. But once you send me a message, it's going to go through, and I can call you back. You see me?
At the end of the day, I am just, I don't know, I'm tired. I get confused because you just want it over with. You want to see the labor right them just out of it. We don't need to hear about them no more. We don't need to watch them on TV and, them kind of something they should just...
I don't want to hear about these people in government. I don't even want them to be a part of the opposition.
Yeah, I was thinking that
This
too.
is where I am at.
I was thinking that.
These
Just check out the wall of
dudes
them.
are a cancer to the Blurt North Jamaica.
Yeah, man.
Their
Seriously, it's
entire
been a
history is
painful
cancerous.
time.
Yeah.
It's been a painful time with them. Seriously.
Man, you know how much things I learned about these people? Man, what?
And this is why I call them aliens. Let me say them aliens because they're weird. They're a bunch of weirdos. Like, why are they so weird and lost and dumb? Like, I don't get it. I have to put name to them because
don't get it.
Their behavior is just unique. It's unusual. Like, I don't understand what's going on.
Real talk.
It's just like out of the world kind of behavior. You know what I mean? The things they say, the things they do, it's like they're not hearing nobody else but themselves. Everything people, it's like their world. I don't get it.
I mean, even I go to Nationwide and look at Nationwide stories, and I know they full of shit. You know what I'm saying? So why can't
What about that girl in Montego Bay where they said they find her with drugs and her mom calling on Andre showed and said that the one in Montego Bay, the one where always a cuss out people stink. Keisha, is it Keisha?
Who is it?
Her mother called in and left a message somehow like that on Andre's show saying that she kicked her out of the house. Somebody was talking about it. Who was it? Lord, jeez, I'm gonna get confused because of it. It's so much people and so much being said. Oh Lord, jeez, I'm confused.
You remember the story about this person that they had a family in the morgue, and the person at the morgue was saying, yo, they need to come and collect their dead after how much years? Well,
5.
I am looking at a document right here of 16 deceased bodies that they're telling them to come for the dead. That's crazy. What is going on?
Yeah, I think it's been like all bodies around for 5 years. How is that possible?
Man, it's the cost. It's the cost that's incurred. The people can't find the money.
And you don't make a deal for something to be worked out so you can bury your dead?
Come on, stop it. Stop it.
I don't understand. This is what I'm saying. They're weird. They're weird. It doesn't make sense what you're doing.
DSP Linroy Edwards, Operation Officer for St. James Division, is reporting 33% decline in murders thanks to leadership, strategic policy and more. Yo, I'm gonna play this. Give me. Yeah. I need to play this so the people can.
I make go back a class.
Yeah, I need to play this. What is this? What is this? Hey, yo, I just got something, y'all. Somebody just sent me something. What is going on right now, man? Look at this. All right. Wait. So can we play it from the start? Is that even possible?
Tell me, how are things in the parish?
Well, we can happily say that St. James is one of the safest parish in Jamaica right now, because coming from last year, we have had a significant reduction in murder, minus 63, which is a 33% reduction, and an overall minus 45% in terms of major crimes. We have a 63% clear in murder, which is basically unprecedented. And this trend is coming from 2024 into 2025. So far, we have had 1 murder since the start of the year and 1 murder over the last 27 days. We have recovered 7 firearms over the last 17 days of the year. So this did not come overnight. Hard-working men and women of the parish, and we have impacted the gang, which contributed to most of our murders. And we have been at them 24/7. We have made a lot of arrests, a lot of recoveries. Unfortunately, some decide not to be arrested by challenging us, and
a lot of arrests, a lot of recoveries. Okay.
You know, they have met the ultimate demise. That's not our wish.
You notice how him talk about them met their ultimate demise, and that is not our wish. Hey man, listen man, police, I love y'all, man. I ain't got no problem with y'all, but y'all let Andrew only set y'all up for the entire Jamaica to be against y'all. I'm telling y'all, You are allowing the government of Jamaica to set you up for everybody to hate y'all. Let me tell you something. If the police is doing good work in the community and there's upstanding citizens in the community, right? And they're not breaking any laws and they're not going against the Constitution, yo, the people will praise the police. I'm not asking Christ. But you see, if they're not doing that and they're doing the opposite, you're going to see uproar. Trust me. So I hope that in St. James, the police is actually doing the right work, and I hope that this is facts. Alright? She said, Bolo, about Keisha Mack, her mother was on Jeffrey telling about how wicked and thief she is. Oh, man, what? It's so expensive to bury dead in Jamaica. It cost me almost $2 million to bury my dad last September. My God, my condolences, Dwayne. Jesus. The mighty. Oh, my God. 2 million? Man, yo. Shoot.
But we intend to keep the parish safe. We need to transform this parish, Mr. Bartlett, from being the most murderous parish in Jamaica to the tourism destination that everyone wishes for.
Oh! Now I see why the operations are being done. It's not because they want to stop crime. It's because they have investment in tourism. It's all about the paper. Yeah. You never see smoke without fire, Jamaica. The police, they do them work. But they are instructed to do a certain type of work. What, you know, over the years when politicians was rolling with criminals, and you can name any one of the big politicians them from back in the past till now, see I got the whole of them. When they want to roll with the criminal them, the criminal syndicates them within control. Where was this effort? Where was this effort? When election time going on, why is it that you have certain politicians who roll with certain criminal elements? And police can't do them nothing. And me say, Jamaica, I have been a fly on the wall. I have been a fly on the wall in certain conversations. I am there, but I am not, and I'm listening, and I am not listening. And I'm telling you, the same police them attack. The same police them attack. About them incident there and them situations there with politicians. Not my word. Over the years, if you're in the right circle, me today hear all type of story. You understand? Good. So Jamaica run one certain way a long time. But you see, when you see them type of effort for reduce crime, you can't know what the motive now. It's all about the money. It's all about the investment. It's about tourism. It's not about making Jamaica a safer place for me and you. It's for making Jamaica a safer place for the tourists. A full time now we get a government that care for the people and do right for the people. And not when there's some outside incentive to do so. I'm just saying.
You know, what you have just said a while ago, it's so inspiring. And it shows the emerging leadership in the JCF. Because leadership is everything. Leadership by itself, it's good. But leadership must have passion. And what came out of the words that you have said was clearly the belief in those words. You're vested in it, that I am a Jamaican.
Now, for the first time, I agree with Holness. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, I say it. First time, I agree with Holness for the very first time. I think this policeman actually is passionate about his work. I think he actually believes what he just uttered a while ago. And I think he lives it. That is why I said what I said. I said the government is setting them up. Them just do them work. Cheryl Donaldson, big up. And anybody who live in St. James, call me. Anybody that live in St. James and is benefiting from this wonderful surgeons of the deduction of crime, and the police is doing a wonderful job. Call me and big up the police them. Yes, come tell me what I want. Can I live in it?
Want to see the best for my country.
Inspirational as well is the motivation. I have 36 years of service, and I have not seen this level of motivation in the JCF in a number of years. What is happening on the ground is unprecedented, and we are more strategic and more organized thanks to our leadership. And I believe Jamaica is heading in the right direction as related to crime reduction.
The people who are here listening,
yes, sir.
I can just read their faces. If you could see their faces, they're all very appreciative of what you have said. Ultimately, there has to be unity between the citizen and the police. Once there is this unity, there is no space for the criminal elements to flourish.
Yes, sir.
And for a long time, there has been a kind of distrust, suspicion of the security forces and the citizens. And I think that is being dispelled every day as leaders like yourself.
Well, this is where we part ways.
Stop the cap.
Stop the cap. What?
No bullshit, bro.
I'm sorry, bro. That sounds good. That sounds good.
Stop.
That sounds good, man. Listen, man.
Stop lying.
Just stop, bro.
Stop. Take his microphone.
Somebody grab
Just
this
a
man
minute.
microphone, man.
Just a minute. Take his microphone. Usher him out.
Usher him out.
Usher him out.
Usher him out, bro.
Usher him out.
Jesus.
Interface with the public and reassure them that this is a force for good. You have said...
I don't think that the relationship between the police... I don't think the relationship with the police and the people of Jamaica are improving. Especially in the last... Especially in the last few months. There has been a quite amount of an outcry, and in terms of even video footage. Oh, I mean, daytime camera the best. And when name Owen Seagal. Oh my God, what kind of name is that? What is that? Hey yo, what is going on with that name, bruh? What?
Hey, no Diddy, man, no Diddy.
What is going on, Tongues? What is going on with that name, bruh? Whose man's is this? Whose man's is this? Yo, you need to change that name. Yo, you need to change that name expeditiously. Bruh, if that is not your real name, you gotta chill. What's going on, Ardeen? Lord.
What other profound thing? And I too have said it in my own way.
Owen
there are those
stiff what?
who will challenge the police. That is their choice. We wish they wouldn't do that. And in fact, I use this opportunity to advise them not to do that.
Yes, sir.
Give up, turn yourself in, cooperate with the police. It is not our wish to take anyone's life. We are here to save lives, even the lives of the criminals.
Most definitely, sir.
But the police must protect themselves first and foremost. We want you to go home safely to your family. So those who intend to challenge the police, I usually say to them, either you're prepared to meet the judge or you're prepared to meet your maker. And that is very clear. We would much prefer you go in front of the judge and plead your case.
Most definitely, sir. Good afternoon, sir. Welcome to Montego Bay.
Very good.
DSP Linroy Edwards, Operations Officer for the parish.
Very good to meet you, DSP.
Pleasure.
Tell me, how are things in the parish?
So, why is it that why I'm so salute the Prime Minister? Is that like a thing? I know I'm not saluting. Hell no. No. Anyway, man, listen. I'm gonna detox. I need a detox. Today has been toxic. I'm gonna detox. Appreciate y'all. You know what is wonderful? we have such wonderful content creators in this space that I don't really have to be live so much. That's why I do the premieres. So, and I got a lot of premieres that I need to set up from now till tomorrow morning. I don't know, till tomorrow 2 o'clock. Yeah, I got a lot of premieres to put in between that time span. So I'm gonna bid you guys a wonderful evening, unless something comes up and I'm gonna have to spontaneously do a live stream. I don't think I'm gonna go live for the rest of the day, man. So respect. We've been on for 4 hours. Thank you guys for coming and appreciate y'all, man. I'm out. Peace.